Hello and welcome to DCP Live episode number 229. Hey guys.
Whoa. Hello.
Hey.
Mercules, welcome back.
Thank you for having me again.
Yeah, absolutely. How's everybody doing?
I'm a little sweaty and
Yeah?
tired from Magnamalo destroying my life.
Is that the
I have
name?
no
Magnamalo?
The name of the
Magnamalo.
new monster.
Magnamalo.
So you
Yeah.
were in the Capcom stream event today for
I
Monster
was.
Hunter.
Yes.
Like hours
Monster
ago,
Hunter.
right?
What's it called? Monster Hunter Rise, right?
Monster Hunter Rise. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was exciting.
I'm tired.
Yeah, it was stressful. Did you guys kill the monster?
No.
Oh, how long did you try for?
With a group for an hour. Solo, I probably did another 2 hours or so.
Oh boy.
Sounds awesome. Sounds like a solid challenge. Okay.
There's not many monsters that I'm like, I can't solo with a bow. It's impossible. But this is tough. This is a tough one.
Yeah.
And that was inside the demo that anybody can download, right?
Yes, you can go fight him. If you kill him, please tweet pictures at me on Twitter. I would love to see your victories.
The
And you only got 15 minutes to do it?
Yeah.
15 minutes.
So the demo only gives you 15 minutes for a ball-busting
Yes.
monster?
Yes.
That's funny.
He's also on the opposite side of the map to where your camp is.
Oh,
so-
even better. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exciting. I can't wait for Rise. Speaking of not Rise, how's things in
Mhm.
Destiny, guys?
Good TLOB. Good TLOB today. If you
Yeah.
if you dislike stasis and PvP, you'll be pretty happy. with it.
I don't know anybody who doesn't like Stasis and PvP.
Are
What are
they-
you talking about?
Are they warming up the tundra? Are they warming up the
Yeah,
tundra in the
they-
Crucible? Is that what's going on?
Well, they're not quite lighting the fire under the light subclasses yet, but they are bringing the stasis subclasses down from their current spicy levels, especially
Mm.
Behemoth and Revenant. Warlock is actually kind of getting some buffs, which I'm a little interested with.
Interesting.
Uh,
Yeah.
But yeah, they're definitely taking the nerf hammer to the Revenants and to the Behemoths, which probably to most players is something that's welcome.
Is this the second round of nerfs or adjustments to Stasis? Or is that the third?
It's actually the third.
Is it
So
the
they
third? Okay.
nerfed Shade Binders, which are Warlocks, real quick, like right out the gate. They took those down.
Mhm.
Then they nerfed Shatter Dive Hunters. Now Shatter Dive is getting nerfed again, and the Shurikens are getting nerfed.
Right.
And
right.
Behemoth Super is just getting Behemoth Super is getting a lot of tuning done to it. It's not going to be nearly as OP as it is
Mhm.
right now.
Yeah.
That's a shame. That was super fun.
I am not at all upset about that.
I'm not ashamed.
A wild
Not
berserker
ashamed.
in the Crucible just going crazy, you know, like
They can literally fly. If you showed me someone cheating with like flying hacks, I couldn't tell you the difference between them and a behemoth.
No.
They're the same.
I'm curious, do you think this is going to put it in line where I obviously haven't played it yet, but like this is speculation. Do you think it's going to put it in line where it should have been at launch?
I think they're still going to be the strongest subclasses
Yeah.
in the Crucible. I think they'll be more in line with like Top Tree Dawnblade, which is probably considered universally the strongest like light subclass. I think they'll be closer. I do not think at all it's going to like decrease the usage numbers a bunch. I think it will just be less frustrating that 80% of players are using Stasis. As opposed to right now, 80% of players using Stasis, and it's super frustrating.
Right.
Now it will just be the same amount of people using it, but a behemoth won't hunt you down off of spawn, kill you, run all the way to the other side of the map, kill you a second time, and then bag you, and then their super runs out 15 seconds later, which is kind of the way it works right now.
Yeah.
fun.
I was playing a Crucible match the other day where there was maybe 2 people using Stasis across the whole lobby. And I was like, guys, there's like hardly any abilities happening. There's like not many at all. It was crazy. It was like this is how Destiny was, where it's gunplay first and then your abilities just complement the gunplay, not abilities. And then maybe I'll think about using my gun. Think about it.
It's like really
Guns
noticeable and weird when
It is.
those lobbies happen, and you're like, why don't I hear like crystals shattering and like stasis supers popping?
It's
Like,
too
why do I hear
quiet.
gunshots all the time? I don't understand what's happening.
That's interesting. So this is like 4 months now after Beyond Light has released. And I guess that's my question is like, do you think that it's too little too late for a lot of players. Like obviously the diehard people are going to be hardcore about the Crucible no matter what, and they're going to take all of it for what it's worth on it. But there's obviously a large like casual population that's kind of fell off because of things like Stasis.
I judge the casual population a lot by like Iron Banner participation because that's like the most, even though it's not actually casual friendly, it's actually very unfriendly to casuals, but like that's the most, you know, accessible thing to casual players that gives them really good rewards, right? And this last Iron Banner I thought was very well participated in by like, you know, non-sweat players, which I take as a good sign. So no, I don't think it's too little too late. I think it's late. I think this should have been done earlier. I think you could have asked any player who knows anything about Stasis, and they would have been able to tell you what needed to be nerfed with Revenant and Behemoth, like
within like a month. Yeah.
And so I think that they should have done it sooner. I don't think that it makes sense to wait this long because you will burn some players out.
You
know, like even TV the other day is talking about like how he doesn't want to play D2 PvP, which is, you know, crazy because he's been one of the most resilient D2 PvP players that has existed. And the fact that he's burnt out is not a great sign.
I saw that tweet.
You know,
I was gonna say I saw that tweet from him saying that like he needs to step back from D2 PvP and find other things to do because of the way Stasis is in the Crucible and all that. And like I feel like there's a lot of people that don't maybe give their voice like that. Instead, they like just step back from it and find other things to do. And I wonder how much of that population has happened to the Crucible.
I think the big change will be when they start buffing the light subclasses again. I think that's what will convince people to come back. But, you know, the wonderful thing about a PvP ecosystem in terms of players leaving is that a lot of times if they're leaving because they're upset with the ecosystem and then the ecosystem changes, they'll come back to like try the new thing again, right? Like it's not an unchangeable part of the game that it's like, I'm so frustrated with this, I will never play again. It's like, I don't like this version. If they make a new version, then I'll try it out again. So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I know that I'm sure that when they do changes to light subclasses, like people are going to be excited to hop back in and see what things are capable of. It's something that always happens in Destiny is, you know, a new thing gets adjusted or something new is added and people want to go in the Crucible and try it out. So hopefully they kind of nail the light subclass stuff quickly so people can get in and be excited about it.
We talked about it on Firing Range last night, but we were like, one of the questions was like, what are the 3 worst light subclasses? And it was like hard to think of because they're all so bad for the most part that we were like struggling to narrow it down to just 3. So like, you know, I'm not playing Revenant because like I love the Revenant subclass, although I do appreciate the kit. Like I'm playing Revenant because it's insanely strong and super versatile.
Right.
But like my actual favorite subclass to play as a hunter is, you know, Tether Night Stalker. And I feel like I legitimately feel like I can't play the class I have the most enjoyment playing because I'm kneecapping myself going into PvP. And I think that there are a lot of people out there who are like, I really like Defender Titan or I really like Nova Bomb Warlock. And before they weren't the strongest, but like you could still play them. You were only kind of at a disadvantage a little bit. Now it's like, it's unplayable. You are worthless to everything if you're doing that. And so there are a lot of people I think that are like that, who as soon as they hear their favorite subclass got a little buff, they'll be like, all right, cool. Like, let me go try that out. Like, let me see how that feels.
Yeah, for sure.
When you talk about tier lists for games like this, it's like a lot of this stuff usually only matters to like the top echelon. Like other players are aware of it because the top echelon will talk about it. Like there'd be a YouTube video from a top tier player who talks about like, here's why, you know, this subclass is better than this subclass and better than this subclass. But to an average player who basically, you know, throws a grenade once in a while and shoots a gun every once in a while, it usually doesn't matter a whole lot, right? But I feel like that's different with this round. With the new subclasses, they were so much stronger that they actually even a player who wouldn't perform better based on the 3 light subclasses could actually perform better because of the new subclass.
I mean, usually it filters down, right? Like if you look at like 5500 comp and like Game 7 trials, right? Like that's the closest we have to like a competitive meta when you just break those things down, right? And you always see a filtering to the 2 or 3 most used subclasses and the 2 or 3 most used weapons loadouts. Like right now it's, you know, 120 hand cannon and Fellwinters. and Revan Hunter and Behemoth, and like that's pretty much it. And usually as you go down from there, like that breaks apart and more variety starts getting brought into it. But you're 100% correct. Like it didn't happen this time. Like the what you see at the top is what you see at every single level of the Crucible.
Yeah.
And it's really, really frustrating because one of the kind of the joys or drawbacks of Destiny is Destiny hasn't really been a top-down balanced game, right? Like you look at something like Overwatch or StarCraft or, any of these hyper competitive things. Super Smash Bros. Is a good example. Valorant, like they're balanced at top down.
Mm-hmm.
And what they strive to do is at the highest level, they strive for balance. And then kind of it just filters down on its own. Like stuff just like falls where it falls underneath that. And the solution to something being unbalanced in bronze is get better. Because if you get better, it's not unbalanced above it, right? Like I use the StarCraft 2 example of like Zergling rushing back in Wings of Liberty was like super prevalent in low tier because you could just make a bunch of these low tier characters and just like flood them out. And you could just overwhelm people who had terrible micro. But at higher levels, it was really, really difficult to do it. And it took them a very long time to ever do anything about Zergling rushing because at the highest level of the game, it wasn't imbalanced, right? So the solution was like, oh, I'm bitching about Zergling rushing. And the solution was get better. And if you get better, you won't have issues with that, right? Destiny doesn't do that. Destiny, they kind of balance middle out. And so what ends up happening is the super hyper competitive players always have to deal with like a really, really narrow sandbox because, Fellwinters, 120 hand cannons, and this is the first time that I think a majority of players are experiencing that type of like balance where it's out of whack.
Sick of getting frozen? Just, stop getting outplayed. Don't get hit by the frozen, that's all.
Yeah.
It's definitely like I have had very little desire to jump in the Crucible since Beyond Light. And I enjoyed the Stasis initially, but like I'll play 3 games and I'll be like, okay, I think I'm good.
If it weren't for Dead Man's Tale, like I don't know that I'd be playing as much as I have been.
Mm-hmm.
But Dead Man's Tale, the new scout rifle, is like very close to what the DMR should have felt like in Halo Reach. Yeah. And Halo Reach is probably my favorite game of all time. Like I love Halo Reach more than anything. I played, just thousands of hours of multiplayer in that game. Absolutely loved it. And to have a gun in my hands that feels like that, where I can hip fire it and it's a similar rate of fire. It doesn't have bloom, which is great because the best iteration of the DMR in Reach didn't have bloom.
Yeah. Took them a while to get
and actually, yeah, it did. Basically when they handed off to 343. But an interesting stat that I looked this up the other day, the DMT, the Dead Man's Tale, is the number 6 most used gun on Xbox. It is not even in the top 10 on PlayStation.
Interesting.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
So the Halo Reach legacy is carrying on into Destiny for Xbox players.
Yeah.
Which I thought was funny.
That is really interesting.
Yeah, that gun is fantastic. I really like it. Yeah, I definitely get DMR vibes from it as well.
It's interesting. This is, sorry, I'm bogaring this conversation, but I just love DMT so incredibly much. But I went to the very first community summit, like back before Warmind, I think. And Hamrick and Wisniewski were there. And obviously they were big in Bungie during Halo Reach. And like Hamrick was kind of the driving factor behind Bloom becoming a thing for the DMR and behind also the that overshield, the ridiculous, awful, like that thing. And I was talking to him about the DMR, and I was like, well, why did you like? What was your decision making process behind Bloom? And he was saying, well, we wanted you to be able to fire really fast from the hip, but we wanted you to have to pace your shots when you were ADS, because otherwise people would just spam the DMR at unlimited distances, and there would be no you wouldn't be able to compete with a sniper or anything longer. Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, wouldn't it have made more sense to have a variable rate of fire when you were ADS and when you were hip fire? And he's like, yeah, it would have, but at the time, like we didn't have the tech or something to do that. Like we couldn't do it that way, so we had to do it a different way. Well, DMT is literally that solution. Like it's faster firing from the hip and then slower when you're ADS. So you can use it at longer ranges, but your TTK drops, when you hip fire at 8. So I thought that it was like the perfect version of the DMR, and it's really difficult for me to not use it in
Yeah.
any content at all right
It's
now.
amazing.
Plus the animations and the sound and just like everything about it.
Yeah.
Look
it's
at
a
Marky's
cool
all
gun.
in love.
Yeah.
Every once in a
Dude,
while, it was. Yeah,
I love
Switch
that
should
gun
be
too,
happy.
man. It's
It was Bastion before this, so
Mhm.
be happy that I'm no longer using Bastion.
I'm also really happy to hear that you also hated armor locking, because that was just the dumbest thing.
Did anybody
possible.
like it?
Yeah, there's
The
people
people
out there
who
that'll
used
be
it.
like, "Yo,
Who
armor
said-
locker was great. It like added surprise and all that." I'm like, "You're
Did
insane."
Pope Bear say he loved it?
He probably
Oh,
said he
of
loved
course.
it. Yeah.
That makes 100% sense.
I had a buddy in college who was like a casual, he didn't play Halo a ton, and I was talking about how much I loved it, and he was like, "Oh, Reach is my favorite game ever," and I was like, "Oh yeah, what do you like?" He's like, "Armor Lock." He's like, "Armor Lock is the best thing it's ever." I was like, "Don't talk to me, like get away from me." Like,
Armor
I can't-
locking
can't
is
be friends
literally
with
like
you right
freezing
now.
people in the Crucible.
Yeah, it was, and oh my god. And the thing was, and I said to him, I was like, "Why didn't you just keep it in big team battles? Like if you
Yeah.
just left it
Yeah,
in
for
big team
vehicles, right?
battles, nobody would have had an issue with it."
hmm
And he was like, "Well, because people had a lot of fun with it in playtesting when we were using like Rumble and stuff like that." And it's like, yeah, but at the same time, it's fun for the person using it, but like everyone going against them
Yeah.
hates it. So
Yeah.
I don't feel like the trade-off is
If they
fair
would have made
there.
it so if you had stuck someone and then they armor locked and it killed them inside the armor lock, then I would have been like, okay, well, there's a counter to it to where you can't just always spam it. But like you'd stick someone armor lock and
Yeah,
then they'd be like, well, now I'm gonna shotgun you because I got the shotgun.
Yeah,
So lame.
yeah.
No.
Or they would armor lock right when you were in melee, and it would bounce it back at you, and then they
Yeah.
would un-armor lock and melee you and kill you, and it was like, oh my god, dude, I
Still
could not
pisses me off
even
today.
deal with it. Or you would snipe them, like you would snipe them, and they would armor lock, and like you would still be
So
killing them, but you
annoying.
would just have to sit there and wait for them to un-armor
Yeah.
lock so that you could.
Ugh.
Yeah, heated just talking about it.
Yeah. It makes me like get angry thinking about matches from like 10 years ago.
We did get some news about the new subclasses. Some changes
Yeah, do
that
we
are
want to
coming.
go through the TWAB in general, and then we can talk more
Boy.
on the specifics of balance?
It's an awfully long twab.
Briar, but I like it when you read to me. Imagine all the people at home right now tuning in are like, Briar's
Yeah.
my bedtime story.
Yeah. Come on, Brian.
They'll be disappointed.
Where do you want to start? We got Grandmaster Nightfalls are coming.
Yep.
Strike difficulty. Go ahead.
Yep. No, I was gonna say that they just give some information on what it is exactly.
Yeah, so they start on March 16th, a day after my birthday. Not too late to get your shopping done.
I know
Strike
what I'm getting
difficulty
you.
is
Those Crocs underwear.
strike difficulty is set to 1350 power. Minimum power required is 1325. Contest mode is enabled. So even if you go in higher than 1325, you will be capped. Each strike will have a specific set of modifiers to ramp up the difficulty, so make sure to inspect each one to know which champions you'll face and what other challenges await you. That's interesting.
Mhm.
One Grandmaster Nightfall will be available each week until April 20th. Starting on April 20th, you'll have the opportunity to blaze through all available
I
Grandmaster
get it.
Nightfalls.
You Bungie, you
I
think yourself
see.
smart. Did Deej write this? Did he come back just to add in a weed joke?
Starting April 20th, you'll have the ability to blaze through all available Grandmaster Nightfalls through a direct launch playlist. If you miss a week, the 3 final weeks of the season are your opportunity to catch up.
Nice. And you're going to be able to get adept weapons. And everyone just wants that adept pally. So
Everybody does want that Adept Pally.
everyone does.
No love for the Swarm. I don't know, that one, for some reason that one brings back some love. Nobody's liking the Shadow Price though, right? The Shadow Price is no good right now. It's just the wrong rate of fire right now for this season.
Yeah, it's a 450. I mean, auto rifles in general are weak, but 450s are like the weakest of the bunch. Nobody wants a Uriel's meta again, so they're scared to buff them.
You know what?
Interesting.
I'm gonna get one. I'm gonna get a good roll on one. I'm just gonna throw it in that vault because someday the Shadow Price will see its day again.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was my first legendary weapon in Destiny 1.
Yeah.
It might have been.
I feel like it could have been mine too.
There's a lot of bug fixes in the update preview, but I just want to talk about one that they absolutely shouldn't have changed because it's the only reason people use it. And that is the Omni-Oculus chess piece, which is the new Hunter chess piece. They're making it to where it no longer grants melee energy when making only yourself invisible under some circumstances. The vast majority of people that are using it, I'm people, are using it because you get the melee charge by dodging and going invisible, using racking and going invisible, middle tree hitting headshots, going invisible. Like that's what makes it viable in more than just like PvE. Whereas now there's no point in me using it like at all.
So
No
it's just
point.
gonna get put in the vault forever.
It became a really cool exotic that was for Night Stalker for like once, where it was like a new exotic that was fun for Night Stalkers. It was a blast. You could do really fun builds with it, and they're taking that away. I don't agree with that. I don't think they should do that. I think that it was a really cool, interesting Night Stalker armor.
I honestly thought it was intended. I didn't realize
Yeah.
that it was a bug. Like I thought that was part of the perk functionality, was that you could use it with more than just the invis smoke.
Yeah.
Yep. And now
Maybe
it's
if
like,
you write a strongly worded letter to
I will.
So, sign it, Dear Bungo.
I genuinely will. Because
Make sure to throw
like,
in
if
something
they-
about armor lock in there.
I will. Is it because you're taking an exotic that was useful for all Night Stalkers, and now you've made it only useful for one Night Stalker, which is only used in very specific circumstances in PvE, instead of all Night Stalkers all the
Yeah.
time.
That's too bad.
I think it's a bad decision.
Mm-hmm. Bad call.
I think it's bad call.
Yep.
So now to the Stasis Tuning. For the March 23rd patch, we're getting some pretty big changes here. So Shatter Dive for the Hunters, removed damage resistance from Shatter Dive, and added a 4-second cooldown between activations of Shatter Dive.
Those are
Cool.
good changes. And that's from someone who still uses Shatter Dive right now. Like
Mhm.
it never should have had damage resistance to begin
No.
with in the animation. Like it did not need it. And the 4-second cooldown, I think is, I mean, as someone who I won't ever even notice that, so it's not going to bother me. But sure, some people will be happy.
Yeah.
It's just one more thing that makes it harder to use.
It's crazy that it had damage resistance. Like popping a super has damage resistance because it's a super. Like,
I think they do it because of the camera shift from first to third. I think that was probably originally why it was there, but it's like it doesn't matter anyways. Like once you activate it, you're trapped in that. So just like you can't cancel it, right? Like there's nothing you can do. Like it was such a strong thing. It really blew my mind that it ever had damage resistance.
yeah, just strange. It's like giving damage resistance for dodging.
Yeah, exactly. Which that's a good idea. We should
You listen
include
to
that in
Bungo?
the strongly worded letter to Bungie.
The Withering Blade, they're decreasing Withering Blade damage against players from 90 to 65. PvE damage is unchanged.
Good.
Good.
Yeah, I like when they put PvE damage is unchanged.
They do it a lot.
Decreased Withering Blade slow stacks applied to players from 40 to 60 stacks. PvE slow stacks are unchanged.
It's good.
Mhm.
And they decrease the target acquisition range of Withering Blade after it impacts a player from 12 meters to 8 meters. Range after impacting PvE enemies is unchanged.
Great.
So they're all good changes.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why
Yeah,
it took
this
so
is-
long. They were like decoupling it from PvE and PvP and realizing how much stuff was breaking every time they decoupled something. So they're like, got to do more, another month to fix this stuff.
Part of me
yeah.
wonders if this is like something that's unique to the darkness subclasses, that they can decouple it this way.
Because they're new
Because-
and they're built differently.
Yeah, and because like
But
they
it's built different.
Yeah, it's
they
just a bit
changed
different.
Chaos
Built from the
Reach,
darkness.
and Chaos Reach is not decoupled. So it was a universal change for Chaos Reach, but everything else that was a nerf was decoupled, from PvE. So I'm wondering if that's something that's unique to new subclasses.
Yeah, I wonder.
Maybe. Yeah.
It's great.
That
I want to
makes
see more of that. Like that's what that's what Crucible needs, is separate tunings for a lot of the stuff that becomes busted, but is really fun in PvE. Because like that's the worst, when they kill something in PvP, but then it's like useless in PvE, or it's not as fun in PvE anymore.
Yeah. That's been a struggle for 6 years.
Yeah.
Titans. Glacial Quake removed AoE freeze against players on super cast. Will still freeze PvE enemies on cast.
That's so good because this is big because it's like before it's just been like damage numbers are a bit different or we haven't seen something be that like that is a big difference that it
Behave
still has
differently.
behave completely differently. So this is so happy,
Yeah.
so happy.
Reduce damage resistance while in super from 60 to 50%.
That's a good
Increase the
change.
energy cost of using Shiver Strike while in Glacial Quake from 3 to 7% super energy. Using the combo of Shiver Strike into a heavy slam attack will now cost the full super energy of both the Shiver Strike and the slam. Previously only costed energy for the slam.
Okay.
Shiver Strike increased downward velocity applied to Shiver Striking players when they are slowed to pull them out of the air more strongly.
These are all great changes.
Yeah.
I mean,
They are.
the 60 to 50% damage resistance is huge. Like people, I don't know that they always understand like how big of a difference an additional 10% off damage is when you're in your super, but it's immense, especially with the mobility of this super. You know, I'm personally of the belief that I don't think any roaming super should ever have more than 50% damage resistance. It's already a huge, cut down, but
Yeah.
this is going to be great. And the 3 to 7%, the super energy stuff, like they didn't flat out say like we're decreasing the time that Behemoth will be up, but both of those changes will have the effect of like dramatically reducing the amount of time that Behemoth will be up as long as you're using your attacks. If you're just running around, then obviously it's going to last the same amount. But, Shiver Strike now costs twice as much, more than twice as much as it did. And the super common combo of Shiver Strike to Slam will now, take the full amount, whereas before it wasn't. It was basically free to Shiver Strike as long as you didn't land it and you just slammed. Whereas now you can't do that anymore. So I think that's going to I think Behemoths are going to notice their super uptime, being cut into it pretty dramatically.
It's so funny. It sounds so similar to like when Dawnblade was just busted. Remember when the best answer to Dawnblade was to literally just turn around and run away? Because of how much damage resistance it had and mobility. It's like parallel situations without getting
The Titan
cut.
Hammer had that for a bit too. You'd hear the dong of the hammer.
Yeah,
Taken
it was
King, when it first came out, that was the
Yeah.
first experience we had with like a super being so incredibly busted that there was just nothing you could do about it. And Behemoth was that way too. But Behemoth you can't even run away from because they can Shiver Strike
You get
chase
there
you,
so
right?
It's so fast.
Yeah. I told this story on firing range, but I ran from a Behemoth for what felt like 25 seconds. They still caught up to me. They killed me and I spawned and they killed me again. And I was like gonna snap my controller in half and just be like, I'm done with this forever.
Oh,
Like,
don't do that. They're expensive.
Yeah. The elite controllers especially, and they break on their own. I don't even need to break it.
Yeah.
All
right.
I do is play.
They'll
and it
take
just
care of
breaks.
that themselves.
So,
Jason Sniperton gave me a great tip about the Elite controllers. To buy them at Costco because they have a 2-year warranty at Costco.
Oh.
Like, you
Guaranteed?
just bring them back.
Wow.
Yeah.
I got
He's
the
replaced a
thing-
bunch of them over there. I think it was Costco. It might have been. It was one of those big box stores. I think it was Costco.
Because I got the replacement plan from Best Buy. So
Yeah.
my right bumper is already going out. And I'm like, man,
Ugh.
I got to go to Best Buy.
Yeah. We've been bumping too hard, man.
Too much bumping. Hard bumping going
You
on.
gotta relax on the bumper. Warlocks. We can skip past this.
Yeah.
no one likes the Warlocks.
Winter's Wrath. Improved tracking of Winter's Wrath projectiles. Now tracking strength decays from its max value over 10 seconds instead of 2.2 seconds. All right, I gotta read that one again because I don't get it.
I was like, yes, very interesting, intriguing.
Yeah, I'm like, is this because it's a
Intriguing.
Warlock that I did not understand what that was?
I think that when you fire the bolts, like they start off with a lot of like magnetism, and then after a decent amount of traveling, the amount of strength that they have to magnetize like decreases, right?
Yeah.
And it used to drop really quickly. 2.2 seconds is still a long time, so I can't imagine that a bolt is going to be flying through the air for 10 seconds from like a Warlock super. But I think that that's what they're talking about, is like if you fire at long range, it will now gradually lose its tracking ability instead of just
losing it
all at once. Yeah,
all at once. Okay, that makes sense. All right. Increase the size of the Warlock super projectile's proximity detonation radius 1.5 to 1.65 meters. The proximity detonation now starts at its largest and scales down to 40% over time.
Everyone's like, so Merc, explain that to us like we're
Explain
five.
it like I'm five.
Explain it like I'm drunk.
Same thing. Like the longer, yeah, the longer your bolt is in the air, like when it hits someone 100 meters away, it's going to do a very small like explosion,
blast.
as opposed to if you hit someone who's right in front of you, it's going to do a very big explosion, right? So I think they're trying to make it more useful up close and like at the same point not entirely useless far away, you know. But I don't really know why, because I feel like their super is already pretty strong right now. Like I don't know that I've ever seen someone launching those projectiles at me and not been frozen by it. So kind of like, well, am I going to have to be worried about a shade binder that's like 100 meters away now across the map, and they're just like launching projectiles, just hoping they track onto someone? Because I'm kind of concerned about that. But
Interesting.
Penumbral blast. I can't say that word. Decreased penumbral blast damage against players from 80 to 30% damage. 80 to 30, not percent. PvE damage is unchanged.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ice flare bolts fixed a bug where ice flare bolts would continuously try to switch targets. That's hilarious.
It's just sitting there panicking, like, oh no, I'm trying, God.
It's like ice flare bolts have ADD. Increased target acquisition range of ice flare bolts by 33%, and increased turning speed of ice flare bolts so they can more effectively hit nearby targets. Chaos Reach decreased the amount of super energy refunded when canceling Chaos Reach early.
I feel like that's fine. I feel like the thing with Chaos Reach is you just need to do stuff with the super, right? Like geomags are definitely a problem and should have something done to them. But you don't need to neuter the subclass. Just make it to where maybe you have to, think a little bit more before you pop your super on someone. Because the thing is, this is no downside with popping Chaos Reach. You pop it, you kill one person. Cool. You put geomags on, you have your super back next round in trials or
General, this applies to all of them. Dustfield Grenade reduced how strongly Dustfield Grenade pulls players inwards, effectively reducing the pull range from 9.5 meters to about 6 meters. PvE pulse impulse is unchanged.
That's fantastic, by the way, that change, because the pull from a Dustfield actually was outside of the, I'm sure you guys noticed, but it was outside of the like effect animation.
Yeah.
So, oh, really?
I think what they've done is they've matched it to the effect animation. So it used to be that if you were outside, you would still get yanked into it. And
that's
now
a huge
I think
difference.
You have to be inside of it for it to affect you. So,
like area wise, it's probably like twice as much or probably more.
Yeah, I mean pi r squared, that radius for the dust fields, and yeah, it's a pretty substantial change. Thankfully, good, because dust field spam is awful.
Mm-hmm.
They reduced the slow attacks applied to players by the grenade detonation from 20 to 10 stacks. Detonation slow stacks are unchanged against PvE. Reduce the slow stacks applied to players on each tick of the grenade from 10 to 5. Per tick slow stacks are unchanged against PvE.
Good.
Adjusted the UI presentation of the slowed status to display slow stacks as X/100 instead of X/10 to increase readability when adding slow stack amounts that are fewer than 10.
Cool.
Stasis crystals reduce crystal shatter damage against players from 85 max, 55 minimum to 55 max, 25 minimum. PvE damage is unchanged.
It is effectively another shatter dive nerf. So even though this is a general one, like that's big for shatter dive taking a seat.
I guess that's also big for behemoths and their breaking of their ice.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
Whisper of Change, reduce Whisper of Change damage resistance bonus while in super from 25 to 5%. Damage resistance when not in super is unchanged. This only affects damage from other guardians.
Basically is only for behemoths as well.
It is, yeah.
We're using it too. They would immediately smash and get the ice crystals, and then they're just I mean, they were already pretty invincible, but it was like Mario Star levels of invincible, where it was like there's literally nothing you can do to them at all.
Yeah.
Whisper of Torment fixed a bug where players could continuously proc Whisper of Torment while standing inside an opponent's barricade. Stasis Fragment quests significantly reduced objective completion values for all Crucible Fragment quests. So those quests will be easier to get now.
All right, good.
Cool.
It's really cool that they're adjusting Stasis, but I kind of think that the big story here is that they're separating the meta of PvE and PvP. I don't really remember them doing that.
I mean, does it really? They didn't do it for the longest time, and it really didn't matter. The only things that ever break PvE are supers that can either last indefinitely for some reason or another, or supers that insta nuke a boss, right? Like those are the only two things that ever, or stuff that makes you invincible for one reason or another, but that's rare, right? Like
that's true, but the PvP players constantly got frustrated by things that had to get nerfed to make them work in the Crucible, but were awesome and fun in the rest of the game, in the PvE side. And if they can separate, they always said they couldn't separate them. It's one game. They wanted your things to do the same things, to feel the same way on both sides of the game. And this time, like, there are changes here where you're going to throw a grenade and it acts differently in PvE and PvP, or you're going to do a super and it does different things in PvE and PvP. So you're going to have to know those things are separate if you play both sides. And that's a huge change for Bungie, for Destiny.
Definitely, yeah.
I'd say it's a big change for their messaging, how they've been, like you said, it's been, if you get a gun or use your super, it's going to be the same no matter where you're using it in Destiny, Gambiteers, Crucible, all that stuff. And now it seems like it's changing. Like, how does this affect Gambit actually? Like, is it going to just go by PvE rules?
I would imagine, right?
Or
because it's a
maybe
PvE
it's
game mode.
Oh,
wait,
PvE
no, because
enemies, and then if it does notice a player versus player situation, then it calculates player versus player stuff versus, maybe that's why it was such a complicated thing to decouple those things.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I think the only one that's really going to be different is the Behemoth super activation, right? Because if you had a player next to you and PvE enemies next to it, will freeze the PvE enemies and not the player. But I'm sure that there's some tag in the background that they use that says this is a red bar, this is a yellow bar, this can be affected by these things, and this is a guardian, this can't be. Like I would assume, I don't know why I would assume this, I have no actual knowledge of this, but I would assume that there's something like that in the back end where they can flag it as guardian affected differently, and maybe they never could do that with it. Maybe that's what they did that's different with the light subclasses, that they didn't have that, and so anything they made just affected everything universally.
Yeah, I could see that. It's interesting thinking about Gambit potentially being some of the biggest issues for them separating sandboxes, because it is the sandbox and the same.
Yeah.
Just get rid of Gambit. And
Whoa, Merc.
I mean, especially after this week's challenge, seasonal challenge or whatever, that's 5 ranks of Gambit. It's oh my God, I'm through 3 right now.
Yeah, that's a lot of Gambit. 5 ranks? Who's got time
I'm
for that?
done.
Hey, everyone knows people been getting them bottom dollars and falling for bottom dollars. They know you're already in Gambit.
Nobody wants to be in Gambit.
5 ranks. That's going to 15,000 points 5 times, right?
No, not 5 resets. It's you have to get all the way through Brave, all the way through Heroic, all the way through Mythic. So it's it's still 30 freaking games of Gambit. So
my bad. I actually thought, I thought it was resets. So no, that's actually not too bad.
I wouldn't even do that. If it was 5 resets, I'd be no. I've done every other seasonal challenge. I would not do that. I don't even do 1 reset in a season. There's no way I'm doing 5.
Bottom dollar, man.
It's not worth it.
Last week, Bungie asked us to vote for the next Festival of the Lost Armor set. And to nobody's surprise, the best one won. Dinosaurs, of course.
Dinosaurs
are cool.
By the way, this art that is here is real cool.
Yeah, it is very cool.
They said that there were just over 200,000 votes cast. And dinos win.
Easily.
You guys vote?
I actually forgot.
Yeah, I didn't vote.
I didn't either. I don't participate in democracy. So
I only
I was
voted
going
because we were
to.
doing the show, and I'm like,
Yeah, I
should
read the
vote while we're
12
doing
and
the show.
I was like, oh man, I should. Yeah. I'll vote later. And then I never voted later.
Yeah, I forgot about it.
It does say for all of you monster movie lovers, do not fret. While Team Dino have won the day by a fairly significant margin. Example: Titans voted Team Dino at 81% to Team Monsters at 19%. Titans were like, no, don't give me this. Don't want it.
I think Titans had the best monster armor, to be honest with you. That Cyclops armor was cool as hell.
They did say that there's still an opportunity in the future for these sweet armor ornaments to see the light of day. So I really like that they did this, though. I like that they put out a community vote thing. I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they should just do that more often. And they said they're going to. They're excited to do more of those in the future. So that's great.
Yeah. I like the idea of them exploring more silliness for armor, too.
Yes.
Yes.
I like that.
Like,
too.
really
Same.
getting nuts with it, I think would be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And
Showing up to fight Caitlyn with a C in your monster armor sounds great.
And Trials is back tomorrow.
They fixed it?
It's back. They said we've resolved an issue that prevented the Trials of Osiris from being active the past 2 weekends. Trials will be re-enabled.
All right.
On
Wait,
reset.
wasn't it
take bets?
disabled because people were cheating?
Because there was a bug.
Win
Well, it wasn't
rating.
cheating. It was the Hawkeye method. It wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how did they get rid of that?
No, they probably just made it to where you can't rejoin from another character because that was the only thing
Probably.
that was enabling it to happen.
Okay.
You guys want to take bets on what's going to cause the next cancellation of Trials?
Telesto.
That's a good bet. It's always wise to bet on Telesto.
Mhm.
Did we have a week of Trials and DMT yet? I think we did.
Yeah,
Never mind.
we did.
Was the catalyst out? Maybe the catalyst breaks
I don't
Trials.
know. I don't. I'm interested to see how it plays on PC. I think it'll be more
Hmm.
popular on PC and Trials than it will be
I think
on,
so,
on the
yeah.
consoles.
Dead Man's Tale extracts a single tear from Osiris, and then it nukes Trials just from that one tear.
I think I'm gonna try Jotun. my next
The
strategy.
old toaster. Classic.
Mm-hmm.
Jotun's fun in Trials. I've used it. It is very effective in the early games and slightly less effective against players who know how to move sideways.
Yeah, players who can sidestep.
Yeah.
Have
Do we get any news on when they're doing the DDoS protection on console?
Not that I know of.
Is that still hanging out
They
there?
say that state of the game. I don't know if it's this season or next season though, or like season. What are we in now? 13. This season
Yes.
13.
Yeah.
So it's either season 14 or season 15. I think it's season 15 because I think it comes along with the Trials changes to like 3 peaking and stuff. But
Oh,
maybe it's.
interesting. Yeah, because they
I don't know, I
originally
don't-
said it was this season. Then they said they had to do some more stuff to it.
I'm sure chat will tell us when we are
Yeah.
wrong. Yeah.
Like I've been
You don't
waiting
want to
for
mess that one up.
I know that
True.
they seem to be like slowly rolling it out and seeing how it goes. And then from the wording, it seemed like they were slowly rolling it out. And then if there was an issue, they'd stop, work on it, bring it back, slowly roll it out again. So I think because the big problem with switching over to this is, you can have many disconnects. It's not just about the protection not working. It could be that you
Right.
cannot connect to anything.
Yeah.
Which would be bad. So you got to make
There's
sure
a-
that works properly.
There's a subreddit. I think it's called Destiny Tech Support or something like that. And like, there's already like a ton of people who, for whatever reason, at any given day can't connect to Destiny.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe
don't-
they
really
have
don't wanna
early DDoS
mess with that.
protection.
Could be.
Little soft.
Can't get DDoS if
launch.
you can't play, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Exactly.
Yes, true.
That's what I've been doing,
Can't
Mark.
DDoS me if I can't play the game.
I just got an Xbox Series X, and I want to
And brag about it, why don't you?
I want to brag about it on the podcast right now. So I just got it a couple days ago. I have the Trinity of next gen now. I have
The Holy Trinity.
the Holy Trinity of next gen has been acquired in the Teft household. So I'm very happy.
I
about
just
that.
sold a graphics card for about 3 times what I paid for it about 3 years ago, maybe 2 years
Wow.
ago. Yeah, it's crazy out there right now.
It is.
I should.
Like, you
sell
cannot
my
find
1080
graphics
Ti.
cards. You definitely should
should.
sell your 1080 Ti. You
Should.
definitely should sell your 1080 Ti.
So I was gonna say that I would like to jump into the Crucible on my Series X, but I
Mhm.
don't want to share my IP address, and I don't want to go through the hassle of hiding my IP address just because it's sitting in front of my TV, and go through that stuff. So
Interesting.
yeah, these are the conundrums.
This is where Breyer says Twitter questions to break up what Tefty's saying. He's
We
like,
didn't
yeah,
talk
that's
about
great. So
Arbalest.
Twitter questions. Yeah, we didn't talk about Arbalest.
Yeah.
God, why you're always trying to rush the Twitter questions? Jeez, Watts.
Always. I can't wait. I can't wait to hear butt jokes
Chomping
and
at the
something
bit.
about a survival situation.
You know what? I do like butt jokes too. What's going on with Arbalest?
Stasis Nerf finally.
They finally did it, huh?
Yeah, they needed to. That thing was next up.
Yeah.
Hopefully, Chaperone. Nobody will like to hear that, but I hope they take the aim assist down on. I would like them to take the aim assist down on every gun across the board. I would love to see way less bullet magnetism in the game, just in general. But I don't think that we will. I don't think we'll be that lucky. A lot of people think they're a lot better at shooting than they are.
That's definitely a symptom.
Yeah.
Definitely a
That's the
symptom
thing,
of Destiny
Jeffrey.
players.
That's the thing. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like it's a really easy game to play.
Yeah.
You go play other games and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, this like
They jump-
damage drop off. You got to calculate.
Jump over to Apex, and you're like, "Damn, I suck."
Yeah.
Well, imagine playing mouse and keyboard and still having bullet magnetism, right? Because there's like a lot of
Yeah.
players out there who talk shit about being on mouse and keyboard, and they don't realize they actually have more bullet magnetism than controllers do. So,
Is
it's
that
like-
that's true? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's actually news to me.
Mhm.
There's more on a wow.
The mouse and keyboard, the guns are all pegged at like the max bullet magnetism, whereas on controller, the bullet magnetism degrades over time, like as you continue to fire. So, which is tied to stability, which obviously is different, anyways. But yeah, so yeah, a lot of mouse and keyboard players out there think they're a lot better than they are, and then they go to a game that doesn't have bullet magnetism.
They go pro and realize,
Oh, this is a lot harder. than I thought.
miscalculation.
Yeah.
Why is Valorant so much more difficult? Damn it.
Yeah, didn't they just increase it on controllers though, like just a few weeks ago?
They
The
adjusted
bullet
some stuff.
magnetism? No, they made the difference between mouse and keyboard and controller less dramatic by increasing stability or increasing recoil on mouse and keyboard and decreasing the camera movement. So stability has like a bunch of effects, right? Like
Yeah.
one of them is actually how much the gun jumps, but a second one is actually how much your camera moves, even if the gun doesn't jump a lot. Like I'm sure you probably remember back
Hard
in
light.
D1, but yeah, like hard light had like really
Yeah.
bad camera shake
Yeah.
and you couldn't do it. And No Land Beyond did too, but No Land Beyond had like no actual recoil at all, right? Like the camera would move a lot, but the gun itself didn't move at all.
Yeah.
So they brought the camera movement down on pulse rifles, fusion rifles, and SMGs, I think, on controller. So it,
Yep.
it doesn't look quite so bad, but the actual recoil is still the same. So
When do you think we're getting No Land Beyond? The old space musket.
whenever we beat Devrim K and take
Yeah.
it from him, pretty much.
when he becomes a raid boss and decides to give it to us.
I don't want to
Or
kill
take it.
Devrim. I like
Yeah.
Devrim.
He's the only person who can drop that loot. in
Devrim
D2
is
apparently.
great.
Yeah.
Maybe
it'd be
he'll
awesome.
have a mission and we can. He like gives
and
us the
crumpets.
gun to
We have
say
to go
thank
get-
you.
We got to
He's
make.
retiring,
Yes.
so he gives us the gun.
He's gonna pass it on so he can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
pop
The final
heads in the
mission
crucible.
is get him some space tea and crumpets for his space musket. And then
Then he just
yeah.
happily goes and lives with his boyfriend and gets away from us. Sounds like a good life.
Yeah. Getting away from
That
space aliens.
I mean, how many exotics are left that were in Destiny 1 that aren't in Destiny 2? There can't be that many.
Gallahorn.
Yeah, Icebreaker,
Yeah. No Land
No
Beyond.
Land Beyond.
Dragon's Breath. I don't know
Plan
how far
C.
that one- Yeah.
I like Dragon's Breath. That was a fun damn gun.
The napalm rocket. Yeah.
Yeah,
It was fun.
I remember when they changed it, and it like what did they do to change it? It got better at
They
some
gave it
point.
the napalm.
Yeah.
Is that what I thought? It always had the napalm.
No, it wasn't originally. It would fire the rocket and it would hit and then light the ground on fire from the
Yeah.
initial impact. And then they changed it with napalm would like drop from the rocket.
Was that it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like that gun.
I want
I used to use it in
Necrochasm.
Titanfall.
Oh, it.
Yeah.
Wasn't it solar
Awesome.
grenades? Wherever it hit, it would create like a solar grenade animation.
Yeah, that's what it would do.
Yeah,
that
The
sounds
Skull
right.
Grenade
Yeah.
thing.
yeah.
Gosh, I want Necrochasm. That gun was so fun. You shoot people and they
Necro-
explode and it goes. And it
That
It
was
screams,
cool.
hive noises.
doesn't exist anymore. That archetype is gone. I guess it would have to be an SMG now because
Mm.
they
Interesting,
removed
yeah.
rapid fire, or they changed rapid fire auto rifles to be 720s, and they were 900s in D1. So
They could do it just for the exotic though, because they've done that several
They
times with
could.
exotics where it's exclusive archetype.
we have too many full auto weapons of various types. We have
True.
like 4 types of SMGs that all basically do the same thing. We really maybe need 2. We have
But-
they have had a really bad bloat of like archetypes. Like how many
Yeah.
archetypes of sidearm do we have right now? Like 6 archetypes of sidearm
Yeah.
that really there's like 2 that are actually useful.
Yeah, I agree. That's one of the things that kind of bugs me that Destiny isn't getting like a 3 on it anytime in the future, is that I feel like they could revamp a whole bunch of archetypes and refreshen things, and I don't know if that's ever going to happen. Like Briar, you talk about it all the time, how you want to see like a different archetype of a hand cannon and then different archetypes of scouts and all that to like change things
Yeah.
up. But,
Yeah, that's what I was hoping would happen with sunsetting, is they could actually sunset entire archetypes, and then change. They could change the archetypes within a subgroup of weapons. So like now there's all different. I mean, they kind of did it with hand cannons, to be honest. They
Yeah,
changed
they
the
made
hand
a broad
cannon
change,
archetypes
yeah.
in a big way.
yeah, the 110 to 120.
So,
yeah.
I mean, they could just do that, I guess. We don't need a
Right.
Destiny 3.
What I would love to see is I would love to see them collapse. Like, we have 4 600 RPM auto rifles, right? Like, I would love to see them collapse it into a frame and then make the different types of auto rifle like an ornament for that frame, right? So, like,
That'd be
how
cool.
many Suros pulse rifles, like Suros adapted pulse rifles, do we have that are energy, right? Like, there's like 4 of them right now that are in existence. Like, make that one pulse rifle, make each of those different styles an ornament for it,
Mhm.
right? And like you could dramatically like decrease bloat in the sandbox right now by just collapsing these things down into frames and then making each appearance, because really when you look at them statistically, like all of their stats are within like 1 or 2 points of each other for the most part. Like all of those Suros auto rifles are almost the exact same. All of the Suros pulse rifles are almost the exact same. Like all that stuff that looks similar to itself, it just is kind of a different paint scheme. Their stats are all within like 1 or 2 points of each other.
Yeah.
These are
like-
the concerns of a man who maintains a massive
Yes.
spreadsheet.
Yeah.
This is spreadsheet talk right here.
Yeah, I already had to go through and like cut stuff out because I was like, I can't even maintain the size of the spreadsheet anymore. Like, I had to cut out a bunch of guns that I was like, I don't think these guns are coming back, so I dumped them all. But yes, I would love to see them collapse all this stuff down so that there's like 30 guns in the game, but you have 4 ornaments for every gun across the board, and like I think that would be a lot better than what their current strategy is. But
We need to get Merc and Fran on the same show
Combined
and have
spreadsheet
a
power.
spreadsheet. Yeah, exactly.
Oh my
Yeah.
god, that'd be they'd bypass spreadsheet and go straight to database.
let me show you. Yeah, let me show you my SQL database of all the shit.
Hey,
And
since we're
nobody
talking
needs
about
to-
that, I think you should plug your podcast where you talk about that stuff like right here, so anybody listening right now knows about that in case they don't.
Sure. Well, obviously, Firing Range is the other DCP podcast, which is like a light version of my weekly podcast, which is
Breakdown
the
light.
Massive Breakdowns. Yeah, Massive Breakdowns podcast, where we like if you like sandbox talk, then imagine just that for like an hour and a half a week and nothing else. And we pretty much do like we'll take every new weapon that comes in with a season, we'll break them up into categories, and we'll break down every single weapon statistically, time to kill, recommended perks, like how you should use it, what it's good for. And then we do that for sandbox, like patch notes and stuff. Basically, we do it for everything. And it's all based off of the ridiculous weapon stat spreadsheet that I've been managing for what seems like an eternity now. But basically, it's the thing that like a lot of times, like Astacross and stuff, when he'll like talk about, time to kill numbers, like he's referencing that spreadsheet and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So
Nice.
it has these neat little drop downs where you can like, nobody does this. I put so much effort into it. Nobody actually uses it, but like you can save yourself a copy of the spreadsheet and there's modifiers on it and you can pick perks and stuff and it will change the TTKs in real time and show you their competitive like
That's awesome.
analysis next to it. But like nobody
That's
does
really
it, right?
I
It's like, oh,
appreciate
come on,
that.
man.
That stuff is
Yeah.
awesome, man.
I didn't know about that. Now that I know, I might fuck with it.
You guys are on over 200 episodes now?
We literally just had our 200th episode, I think, last week or 2 weeks ago.
That's
so
awesome.
Did you
Yay,
get drunk? I
congrats.
would have gotten drunk.
we get drunk on our Star Wars podcast that we do. That is a
You do a
once
Star
month
Wars podcast? I didn't
Yeah.
know.
Well,
And Briar's like, Star Wars and beer?
yeah.
When am I
So,
coming on?
It was.
What about Jar Jar
it was
Banks?
originally-
What's your take on Jar Jar Banks?
Yeah,
you
what
know,
is your feelings?
I didn't get the hate for him until I rewatched Phantom Menace earlier, like last year, because we were like, oh, well, let's go through all the Star Wars movies again. And I'd always loved Phantom Menace as a kid. Rewatched it as an adult, and I was like, I see why everyone hates him now. Super annoying.
Yeah.
Really, really annoying.
Except
And I was
for
like, I
Eric's.
understand what Lucas was trying to go through, because as a kid, I was like, oh, he's funny, and like I didn't care. And now as an adult, I'm like, oh, it's like really painful to watch this anytime he's in a scene.
That-
poor Ahmad Best. But
That movie is so fucked up because it seems to be aimed at kids, but it's like filled with like all this politics and stuff that doesn't like it doesn't make sense for kids at all. Like that is a bizarre movie.
There's some great redeeming things. I mean, obviously the Duel of the Fates and everything is like
That's awesome.
fantastic. And
Yeah.
if you ever listen to Dave Filoni talk, he did a really great interview where he sits down for like 5 minutes. This is after the first season of Mandalorian, and he talks about why Duel of the Fates is so important to like the franchise as a whole. And like I could listen to him talk about anything Star Wars related for an eternity, and I could just sit there with like my mouth open, because he was like George Lucas's protege before Lucas sold to Disney, obviously. And so now it's great that he's doing stuff like Bad Batch and everything, because I don't know if you guys have watched Clone Wars, the animated series, but it is incredible.
I need to watch it.
like,
I haven't yet.
Yeah. So
I've watched like half of it. I've been making my way through it since The Mandalorian
shit.
referenced it so much
Yeah.
that I
Yeah.
felt like I need to now go back and watch it.
Yeah, and The
fleshes out-
Mandalorian, it's always just like, here's the thing, and everyone's like, wait, what does that mean? And then everyone who's watched the animated series are like, yeah, get so excited.
Yeah.
It is like you will watch the prequels in an entirely different light, because it takes all these characters that were just like one-off characters in the prequels and gives them like 7 seasons worth of backstory. And so like the Jedi who get killed when they're going to arrest Emperor Palpatine, right? Like they just die in the movie and you don't care anything about them. But like Kit Fisto is like a relatively major character and, you know, many seasons of Clone Wars. So if you watch Clone Wars, you like grow attached to these characters. And
That's
then
my
they,
nickname in
you know,
college, Kid Fisto.
Kit Fisto. Yeah. Was that a good nickname to have? Is that really what you wanted to be called? Yeah.
No. This was pre-prep for doorknobs.
Mhm.
This was before Doorknob Briar became what he is today.
Yeah. Well,
Still COVID free, Watts. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Where can
Or
people
COVID immune
find? Where can
from-
people find
yeah.
your Star Wars podcast? What would we
so
search?
it's on the same channel. It was a Patreon thing that we did. We called it the IRL cast for a while because we just kept like we would offer them a vote, like, what do you want us to talk about? And it was like Star Wars here and Star Wars there. And then we looked back at it like a couple months ago and we were like, so it's been Star Wars for 7 of the last 8 episodes. So
It's a Star
and like
Wars
all we
podcast.
really want to talk about is just Star
Just make
Wars.
this
So
official.
yeah, the next one that comes out is actually going to be the first one of the rebranded Star Wars only podcast, and
Oh,
we're calling
nice.
it Beneath Twin Suns, which I'm super stoked
That's
about.
Oh, that's a good name.
Yeah, so that is going to be. It's on the same channel as the Destiny Massive Breakdown stuff. So you'll see it interspersed between the other ones. We do 1 episode a month. It's supposed to be a Patreon reward, but we don't just give our stuff out to just Patreons, right? We're like, if we hit a Patreon goal, then we do an extra podcast episode a month so that everybody can listen to it. Because
Nice.
That's
Yeah.
smart. I like
Yeah.
Really
that.
cool.
yeah, it probably prevents people from subscribing to us, but at the same time, it's like I know that when I subscribe to podcasts, I kind of like it more when they're not like hiding episodes. Like I want to listen to you guys talk, but at the same
Yeah.
time, like I can't always afford $15 a month or something to
Yeah, times
to
are
hear
hard
another
right now.
episode. So
Yeah, for sure. Cool. Anything else in Destiny?
Briar's face.
Friar's like,
still thinking
Briar's
about the
like, I'm
Fisto.
not
what
going
are questions? What? Just real quick, a recap. What's been going on in the story with Caitlyn with the sea and all that? Anything in particular? Yeah.
So they
Kate-
tried to kill Zavala. They tried to
She
assassinate him.
She says she didn't try to kill Zavala. She says
She
that
did.
she would have killed him on the battlefield like an honorable war.
Like a man, woman.
Yeah.
This was Crow.
Yeah.
It was Crow. Hmm.
Crow saved him somehow by
Mm.
distracting Zavala from the Scion. I don't know how that worked out, but Crow saved him. Osiris is pissed. Honestly, the most exciting story right now is the Glycon stuff, like the ghost ship. To me, is like
Yeah, that's
real good. I don't know if you guys have skipped ahead and read the lore of that, but it is
I
fantastic. I won't spoil it, but it is excellent.
The storytelling this season truly is amazing. They've been doing a great job, and Caitlyn do be tweeting. She's taking over Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good stuff.
I had to
like
like
it.
stop and go, what is this? Who's this account that I'm following? And I was like, oh, Destiny.
It's Caitlyn. Huh? When did
Okay.
I follow Caitlyn?
Yeah, I was like, who became a parody account? Yeah. It's cool how they're like combining that with the Twitter account. Giving little
Yeah.
sprinkles.
Wonder what it's going to lead up to. That's exciting. I do like that.
I think it's going to lead up to an OnlyFans account for Caitlyn.
I was just going to say that. There is,
Subscribed.
Maybe. Oh, wait, check this out. So, Twitter was introducing super follows, right? Which is like
right.
OnlyFans. So, what if Destiny
what?
are going to launch super follows with Caitlyn booty pics?
Caitlyn booty and feet pics.
Booty
if it
and
gets,
booty.
if it
Super
gets rid of
follow that
Eververse,
booty.
I will take an OnlyFans for Cabal if it gets rid of Eververse. That's what I will do. I will pay
same.
money. Yeah,
Interesting.
I will
Yeah.
pay money to see the space turtles naked to get all the Eververse stuff.
Super
Them space
follows.
turtles.
In case no one knows, it's a thing that Twitter is going to be introducing where you pay money to be a super follower of someone.
They should just kill that
What's
idea
that do?
before it gets out.
Yeah, that's it. What's that do? Like,
It's as
why,
bad as it
why would
sounds.
somebody want to be a?
Be like, instead of reading the person's tweets as always, now you get to pay money and read other tweets from that
And read
person.
scandalous tweets.
Yeah.
Ooh.
They
So
have,
only like
so you have regular
when I
tweets
decide to
and then
tweet-
tweets behind a paywall.
I'm not gonna say that. Maybe I would actually. I'll only put my croc-related tweets behind a paywall,
Ooh.
just to show you how much you wasted your money by paying for. Wait,
Your
this is
Croc
just a
tweets?
bunch of pictures of Crocs.
Worst super follow ever.
Yeah,
That's what this. I'd like to do it for meme stuff, right? Like it's maybe we got. I'll post Bella and Tobias's paw pictures on my super follows.
yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
I'll post a picture of like some like random corner of my office every day. Same corner.
New cord every day. Sign
Yeah.
up.
All right, I'm doing it. Aram says, with Merc having a private pilot's license, what non-military planes would he like to fly?
What non-military airplanes would I like to fly? Well,
Yeah.
is it like what I really want to fly is an old military airplane. So the World War II
Ooh.
airplanes. There's a plane called a P-47, which ever since I was a little kid, I've been like enamored with, and I would love to be able to fly one of those. So it's technically military, but it's ex-military. It's no longer in use.
Yeah.
Is
That's
it the
cool.
Thunderbolt?
It is the Thunderbolt.
Oh, that is
Say it.
dope looking.
Yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful airplane. It's big and mean, and it sounds incredible. But it's probably a little bit above my skill level right now.
Is that like before or after the Mustang?
It was concurrent to the Mustang.
Concurrent to the Mustang?
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So it was a different thing. The Thunderbolt. There was one version that was used for escort, which is what the Mustang was used for. But the Thunderbolt was more of a ground attack airplane. So it was heavily armored. It could carry a lot of armament, and then they would use it to strafe, tanks or trains or anything like that. So it was much better at the low level stuff because it was more heavily armored and it wasn't as fast. And the P-51 was much better at the high level stuff, like escorting the bombers and things. So turns out
Makes sense.
side effects of me being a super nerd about stats is I'm also a super nerd about airplane stuff. So
I like it.
I feel like those often go hand in hand.
yeah.
You get the drag coefficient of a P-41.
Yeah. So I actually
The
did
ability to
spreadsheets
run
for-
SQL on a computer and knowledge about airplanes are often
Yeah. often
commingling.
related. So yeah, I actually did spreadsheets for War Thunder, which is like a flight simulator. Now it's more than a flight simulator. Now it has tanks and ships and shit too. But way back in the day, I used to do spreadsheets for that game as well. But I don't have time for that anymore because I have a real job now and I'm still trying to do the Destiny stuff. So
Fuck real jobs.
they really do suck, don't they?
Yeah, not cool. Eggplant Volcano says, with Witch Queen moving to 2022, what do you think they will do with seasons 14 and 15? Extend 15, making it 6 months, both 14 and 15 be 4 to 5 months each, or add a new season before the new DLC drops. Do you see a long content drought coming in the fall?
I mean, if their seasons are as good as this season, like, I'm not really super concerned about it. Like, this season, in terms of how much I'm enjoying it outside of Stasis and PvP, is pretty darn close to as much as I enjoyed Shadowkeep, if not more. So, if they have another 2 seasons like this year, or potentially 3 seasons like this year, like, I'm not going to be concerned about a content drought at all.
Yeah, if they follow this direction with the seasonal content, I definitely think it's not going to be an issue for the players that are interested in playing Destiny right now. The big push of people that come in for DLC stuff, that's obviously not going to get recaptured by the seasonal content. But it does make you wonder, though, if they're going to just add a whole nother season, or if they're going to pad out.
I can't imagine, right?
Yeah, like, is it going to be 4-5 month seasons to pad that out?
My guess from the outside looking in would be that they're just going to stretch those seasons out, right? So, like, you'll see, like,
I would guess so. You don't want like a filler episode of a season, right? With amazing storytelling, and it's like, oh, how do we delay with storytelling that has nothing to do with the big? Because they're all like planned out to be this big reveal, right? With these big content drops, so it might be hard for them to add like a whole other season.
Yeah, and the whole point is that they need more time to work on season 16. So if they add more content, like, how's that help?
They're taking away development time, right?
I mean, they've stretched seasons before, so I'd assume that they just stretch each season by, a couple weeks or 3 weeks or however long it takes, and then just the same number of seasons they currently have.
Well, if we look at, Witch Queen is going to be February, let's say like a February, March type of thing, then that's a considerable amount of time that they got to pad out for the. I mean, it would technically be 2 seasons left outside of this season.
Well, I mean, so what do we got now? We've got, when does this season end? Like May or June or something? Is it May that this season ends? So then we've got June, July, August is one season, and then we've got September, October, November. So let's assume they pad each season by 2 weeks or something, right? I mean, they could just release the normally planned like January season there, right? If they don't have a story that's tied in that needs Witch Queen to be active for it, they could just release that season and then drop Witch Queen halfway through it.
That's actually a really good point. They totally could have like two storylines essentially.
Yeah,
true.
Youngest Hero 92 says, if you could have one exotic armor piece back from Destiny 1, what would it be? And you can't say Twilight Garrison.
I want to say Bones of Ao, but
the Bones of Yeet.
But they didn't look great with most shaders, and I could only use them because when you go Bones, you can't go back.
Can't go back.
Can't swap out.
Go back.
That's my answer. It's the Bones of Eating.
That's a good question. The thing is, like, Graviton Forfeit, I used a lot. It's already in D2, but it just has a different effect now, which is unfortunate. I would like them to bring the original Celestial Nighthawk in, which gave you in-air accuracy, and that didn't even get released ever. It was data mined that was the perk it was going to be, and they changed it before it even ever got released into what it ended up being. Yeah.
That might be really interesting, actually, to have an exotic that gives that.
Yeah, it'd be super broken. It'd be awesome. I would use it with DMT, and it would literally be Halo Reach for me. Just perfect inner accuracy and hip firing. Like,
yeah, Bones of Eo for me.
Insane8511 says, this is for everyone. If a Destiny 2 perk was your nickname, which perk would it be? Please tell everyone what think everyone else's name would be. Wait, we got to give each other a nickname and then have a perk based on that?
Or is it based
on
gamer
tag?
Like current Destiny perks? We have to give.
That's what I thought it was. Like,
that's what I thought it was.
Okay,
perk that describes them.
Oh, okay. All right, start listing off some perks.
So I do no backup plan.
That works for everybody on the podcast except for Merc.
Zen moment.
I feel like that's Briar mostly.
Hey.
So I would then be backup plan, right? Because if that's the way
Yeah.
it works, backup plan for the future rifles. Rampage, Zen moment.
I can see
have to
Watts being
start
Rampage.
Why do you think I'm a terror, Briar? I don't understand.
You murder people and you threaten you're going to eat me all the time?
Classic
I
Watts
haven't murdered
Rampage.
any actual people.
That you know of.
People.
Officially. Okay.
Yeah. You haven't been caught yet. What about Tefty? What's a good one for Tefty?
Fluted barrel.
Fluted barrel.
Okay.
Fluted barrel.
Outlaw. It's ironic because he's a narc.
I get it.
William James Corwin says, "How many yeehaws is too much yeehaw?"
Oh, there's no such thing.
Yeah, you can't have too much yeehaw.
Who's trying to limit the yeehaw?
Yeah, James, what's going on there?
Bruh.
Duo Shade says, "Remember Arms Day? What hockey, Omelon, Suros, and Vice weapons would you be excited to see rolling with new perks on a weekly basis?" I would just like to see Arms Day comes back. That was great.
Seriously.
Yeah.
That was fun.
It was a fun weekly ritual.
There's so much good. We had weekly vendor resets back then too.
Yeah.
I mean, there was so much good in terms of the D1 vendors that has still not been brought back into D2. I had two guns that I loved from Arms Day. One was the Ludmilla, which was the 4-burst Hawkeye Pulse. And the other was the Cocytus. Cocytus? I don't know how to pronounce it, but it was an Omelon high impact scout rifle, which ended up being the basis for Chaos Dogma, which was the Wrath of the Machine raid scout. So
I had an Omelon sniper rifle that had final round on it.
That was the good stuff.
Yeah, that was a good one.
I wish they would do something with Arms Day and make it an actual weekly ritual type of thing, like in D1. Because that's I miss that stuff.
And it wasn't on reset day; it was like on Wednesday. So it was like it felt like there was a point at which in Destiny 1, it felt like every day there was something, even if it was just like a weekly thing like Arms Day. There was at least something to go check out.
It was reset. Wait, it was reset, then Arms Day, then Thursday was TWAB, then Friday was Trials, and then Xur. And then I mean the weekend was just Trials and Xur, and it didn't do anything. But yeah, for the middle of the week was like
pretty packed for a while.
I made a mistake here. Apparently, Zolomon says, "What would be one significant change you would do to the sandbox currently? Remove supers, buff a certain archetype, ability only modes, remove supers."
Yeah,
that's a drastic change.
Remove everything.
How
remove
much time
Warlocks.
Do you have? Yeah,
could get rid of
that's
Warlocks.
A less drastic change. I think less people would be upset if you removed Warlocks than if you removed supers. So
I agree.
It's true.
Yeah, removing supers affects everybody. Removing Warlocks only affects the losers.
The worst.
Yeah, the Warlocks. I think we're all in
there's
agreement.
our answer.
Yeah,
I think that's our answer.
It's unanimous.
Joshua Mask Please Cummings says, "With Forsaken looking like the next thing to enter the DCV, what content would you like to see brought back? And what else would you like to see enter the vault? Personally, I'm rooting for the Dreadnought. I wouldn't mind losing parts of Nessus."
Dreadnought would be cool. My favorite is Venus, though, from D1. And I miss some of the maps. Well, I mean, they've brought back some of the maps in as Nessus, but like I thought Venus was really cool. I miss that place.
Venus was kind of mysterious too, because in the beginning there were like chests on top of trees, so you'd climb and find a chest, and that was cool.
Yeah,
probably not as cool now because we know what Destiny is, but
Venus also had the Vault of Glass.
Yep.
Yeah.
So kind of an obvious choice of what could be coming back. I would bring back Titan and put a raid on it, because Titan was a woefully underutilized location.
Seriously.
You're so right.
It had some of the coolest locations.
Yeah, that place was and we saw like a sea monster in the water. And that was kind of just there chilling. And then the oncology is beautiful. That would be amazing. I would love that.
Did you ever see how the monster was done? right? Like the one that you could actually see from the surface, not the one that you saw the shadow go past on the mission. It was a spinning wheel that was just the ridges of its back, and it would spin, and the only time you would see it is if the wave would dip at such a point in time that it would pop up above it. Yeah, someone glitched out into the water and like found it because they wanted to see what the monster was, and it was just a spinning wheel.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Reminds me of the smoke monster from Lost.
Yeah, but you're right though. Like that place significantly underutilized. It had some cool missions, you know, with Cade and all that, the chess, but like it's such a small public area to roam, and all the cool areas were locked off with missions and stuff. And then they had that strike that if you didn't hear the dialogue all the time was decent, but my god, that dialogue.
Sabaton song. I feel bad for whoever that voice actor was who had to do that because it was not.
I'm just gonna keep talking and assuming you can hear me.
And you could get through it so fast that it would get all the lines out of order. So you halfway through you'd be saying like random, and it was just like,
so painful.
Jeremy Collins of Podcast We Listen To says, would you like to go back to original infusion system where we could infuse, for example, Hunter arms into Warlock arms? I feel like it would reduce some of the grind. Also, would you all like to come on my podcast?
Sure. If you get us drunk.
Yeah,
How much
I like
alcohol
beer.
are we talking about?
Yeah, let us know about the alcohol.
I don't know. Yeah,
I think I would like this to come back.
Like a system that's like crystals and like you don't have to infuse weapons. Like you just play, and instead of getting a powerful drop, you get a little crystal that allows you to add +1 to anything that you put it into. Right.
Interesting.
Powerful one that gives you +5 to anything that you put it into. Right. So you don't have to get rid of weapons to infuse something up, and you also don't have to hope for a drop for a specific slot. You just, like your weekly reward for doing 4 Crucible matches is you get a little crystal that will give you +5 power to any slot that you want, or something like that.
I am suspicious of you adding more currencies to this game, but this
I would get rid of
good.
I would get rid of a ton of other currencies. All right,
you got my vote.
You're in charge. The currency system.
When I get full control over Destiny, there will be many changes that will be made.
The reckoning will come.
Yeah. Warlocks beware.
I don't like having to do them all separately. I like the old way better. I think at the time when I was playing like much more Destiny than I am now, it didn't matter to me because I was going to do them anyway. But now it's kind of, I don't feel incentivized to play all 3 of my characters anymore. I really just focus on 1 per season. And then at the end of the season, I just let them all get brought up to whatever the current level is. Mm-hmm. I think that answer is going to be different depending on how much time you like to grind in Destiny.
Definitely.
How much you enjoy the grind.
True. Yeah.
Topher says, your boy Matt Mithrax hits you up with a fresh load of ether. Who do you choose to sit down and puff unreasonable amounts of ether with until your soul leaves your body through the third eye and zooms past Alpha Centauri? Topher,
are we ending up on clouds with a row stick?
Rowboat clouds?
Oh, I like it.
I think I'm gonna go with the mind bender because that experience with the mind bender seems pretty awesome. Be like, you want to come to my center row? Go. Yes,
True.
I do. I do want to. And he's a mind bender. We'll be bending our minds.
How about Spider? I think Spider'd be hilarious.
Spider would be good.
No, he'd grab your ghost and it'd be like, hey, you want to see what I can do with bombs? And
magic trick.
You think you'd be one of those guys that like fucks with you the whole time you're high? Because that's no fun.
No, it's not fun. I would imagine that would be terrible.
Yeah. I changed my answer.
I feel like I'd have to get high with Mithrax if he's dealing it.
Seems like a cool dude.
Yeah.
But do you really want to get high with your dealer? I mean, I guess.
Yeah, that's a weird vibe.
But is he your dealer though? Because he just shows up with a buttload of ether, Also, he's kind of like mysterious with this whole, alliance, not alliance type of stuff going on. Like, I'd want to.
I think Briar should get high with Crow, and they should have a long conversation.
Yeah. Hash it out.
Yeah,
clear
hash
the air
it out
with some ether.
I usually am pretty non-violent when I'm toking the ether, so to speak. But things might change.
Off an ether. Ooh, Drifter would be good too.
Drifter was
Yeah,
already
Drifter
doing
would be
that stuff,
good.
Drifter
though,
would be like,
yeah,
I got
he's-
this thing. You want to
No,
eat it?
Drifter definitely fucks with you when you're high.
yeah.
He'll offer me many things to eat, and I'll be high, so I'll be like, ooh, delicious. And then I'll be like, this is a bad idea.
Drifter's gonna be like, want to play some Gambit?
No.
Yeah. It's like, God. I think Amanda would be pretty cool. She seems like a chill lady. She seems pretty fun, you know.
Yeah, that's true.
In terms of people who won't like stab you or eat your ghost or toss you into a Gambit arena when you're blazed. I think Amanda wouldn't do any of
Zavala
those
could
things.
use a little chill session for sure.
Zavala's straight edge, man. He doesn't do that shit.
You're right. He's a cop. He's probably gonna turn you in. Shimazu Sama says, "What is the next Tex Mechanica weapon we should get?"
Was No Land Beyond Tex Mechanica? Or was it just unidentified musket?
I think it was no, I don't think it was Tex Mechanica.
Yeah, I think it was on Unidentified.
I think it was
It's
Russian.
Definitely text. Definitely, yeah.
I think we need dual wield pistols.
I
I can double
yeah.
Yeehoo.
I thought that was for sure going to happen. I thought they were going to like make it to where you could dual wield sidearms or something. You just lost your ADS to do that. I thought for sure that was something that they were going to do for an exotic at some point, but that'd be pretty cool.
I got it.
Yeehaw.
A Tex Mechanica hammer. All right. A nice.
What's
Okay.
cowboy about a hammer?
Yeah, what's cowboy about a hammer?
You're building like your railroad
You
in,
build-
in the west.
Did
You're-
they use hammers for that? Is that something?
How about a horse? We could have a mount. The first mount could be a
Tex
Tex
Mechanica
Mechanica.
horse.
Yeah, it'd be a mechanical horse.
Actually, I just thought about this. Bastion could have been a Tex Mechanica with like how
Yeah.
mechanical and everything it is, and it's a kinetic. Like I think that would have been a great Tex Mechanica. Yeah. So we'll take double Bastion.
Yeah.
James
Dual-wielding
Carey says,
bastions.
Yes.
Yes.
Yo, pickaxe. No, that's what it is. I was trying to think. I
There
was
you
gonna
go.
go with sword, and I was like, sword's too obvious. And I was like, we need a hammer because
sword's too obvious for a cowboy?
a pickaxe. Pickaxe is perfect because you're out there mining gold. You're mining
An
ether.
old prospector.
That's what a lot of cowboys were. They were prospecting out there. They go to the west to get rich, striking rich in gold, man. I live in California, all right? It's all around me, the gold rush.
Testing is around all the cowboys.
I'm literally surrounded by historic gold rush history.
James Carey says, legendary fusion rifles just don't seem to cut the mustard in PvE. What do you think they need to be competitive with snipes and shotties in PvE?
PvE?
More damage? Wouldn't that cut the mustard?
I really liked the ritual fusion rifle, the pinnacle fusion rifle that we had where it blew things up.
Oh yeah.
That was a lot of fun. I don't normally use fusion rifles in PvE, but that freaking fusion rifle was fun. We need more explosions.
Yeah, they probably
I'm a
just
big
need to
fan.
do a lot more damage because, like, with a sniper and with a shotgun, you obviously just have a rate of fire. With a fusion, you have a charge rate, so it's very slow to like use against a boss or to do against anything that it does in one shot. It's just not really efficient to use. So either needs to do more damage per bolt, or maybe speed up the charge rate so the charge rate's a lot faster.
John the Sloppy Taco says, should we be able to unlock all artifact mods without resting? There's no reason to limit them. There is no build that would break the game if you had them all. The most powerful ones cost 6 energy and all go on class item.
Yeah, I mean, why reset the artifact? It's just kind of a pain in the butt to have to do, right? Like I don't feel like it benefits the player in any way. And he's right, you can't equip a lot of them.
It's just another reason to grind. It's
More stuff to do.
It's the thing where when we heard about it, and I think probably their wants for the artifact was to bring mods that were super OP for a season, and then they're just there for a season, and then they're gone. So it's a way to add some spice to the game without it lasting forever, but it never ended up being that.
Yeah.
You guys hear about the Avengers, right? They're making it harder to grind in that game because their excuse is that players were getting too many abilities too fast, and they were getting confused. So they're extending how much experience you need to grind that game, to grind levels in that game. that's stupid, and they shouldn't do it. But they do have a point when you do earn these things slowly, or at least piece by piece. You learn each one of them. You have a greater. Many of us will have a greater understanding of what they do if we unlock them piece by piece.
Or they just won't play the game because
Or they won't play the game.
Yeah, they end up quitting.
Hades says, you find out that all the Guardian NPCs have super boring jobs in their past lives. What do you think they were? He gives an example. Zavala is a disgruntled substitute teacher. No, Zavala was a cop.
He currently is a cop.
He currently is a cop. What was Shaxx in his previous life?
male stripper.
Yes.
Yep.
That sounds exciting. I don't know if that's boring.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shaxx was bored by it.
It's too easy for him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Too easy.
Definitely.
The
He
hell
made too much money.
He made too much
Yeah.
money
Yeah.
There
without
wasn't
trying.
a challenge for him anymore.
His OnlyFans was popping.
Rahul was an IRS person, auditor.
Ugh.
Yeah.
God, that's worse than a cop. I can't think of what was Ikora. Ikora was in the UFC.
Mm.
It's not boring either. You're
Boring
giving them
jobs.
exciting
Oh,
jobs.
my bad.
It's supposed to be. We went from like it's boring to incredibly exciting and amazing,
Yeah.
thrilling
Ooh,
jobs.
DMV. Cam 1. Yep. DMV. Ikora worked at the DMV.
Oh, that sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Meyer says kind of a
Tess Eververse worked at Target.
Yeah.
Mm.
Or like Aeropostale or something, like one of the mall stores there.
So Tess is
Yeah.
Patrick.
Yes. They're supposed to be boring jobs.
Chris Meyer says kind of a side quest question, but with Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2 coming out at some point, do you think they'll keep the same battle system they have, or do you think they'll build upon it and make it even more interactive and complex?
I think
I
they'll
think they'll
keep
build
it.
on it.
Yeah, no reason to change it. It was awesome. Build on it, right?
I think
It
they'll
will-
build on it just because it's the next game, and they got the next 10 years to work on it.
Yeah, it's gonna be 2030 before that comes out.
Well, if it comes out in 2030, then yeah, maybe they change some stuff.
I can't wait to play that PS6 game.
Mm-hmm.
Frazzy Wazzy says, question for Watts, what's the weirdest place you've ever found your cat sleeping?
Oh my! So this actually happened last night. So we let the cats in bed, and we can't just let them be in there because Bella pees on anything that's soft and fluffy. She just
Oh, that's
loves
not
peeing
cool.
on soft and fluffy. And she was laying kind of by my pillow, and so I moved
Ooh.
my head a little bit, and she skirted inside of my pillowcase. So she's between the pillow and the pillowcase. She turns around and falls asleep. And I'm just laying. It's like 2:00 in the morning. I'm like, hello. I now
This
don't
is
have
my
a pillow.
Yeah.
I don't have a pillow. I haven't seen her that happy in a long time. She was falling
She go-
asleep. She's purring.
Full narcoleptic as soon as you hit the pillow.
And she hit it and she was just like, oh yeah. Oh yeah. This is it. I put a picture of it on Twitter. It's yeah, she stole my pillow. I ended up getting a towel and putting it on the bed to use it as a pillow.
It was a worthy sacrifice, though. I mean, if your cat's
It
that
was
comfortable.
hilarious.
Yeah.
Too. I've never seen her do that, and I was laughing for a good amount of time at her just beelining into the pillowcase and being like, "Yep, this is it. I found it. I found my special place."
We're pretty convinced that my cats tried to kill my dog last night. Because at
What?
2 o'clock
What happened last night?
My
Was it
dog,
like a cat full moon or something?
my dog sleeps in a dog bed on the floor, and it's kind of under. It's like right next to the end of the bed, and there's also like a bookcase with a TV on it. It's like a 32-inch 1080p TV. It's an old TV. And in the middle of the night, about 2:00 in the morning, one of the cats pushed the TV off of the bookcase onto the dog, and
My.
commotion was the result.
Whoa.
Dear Lord.
Yeah, it was a big deal, and that's like a 32-inch TV. It's not like
How did
it's not like a glass that they just tap.
Yeah, do you
It was a-
imagine your cat like straining at the push?
yeah.
Like,
We got him! We got him!
use your
He's right
hind
there!"
legs.
Oh my god. Wow.
Muttbeard says, with the concept of a first person to step foot on Mars quickly becoming a reality, which planet/moon would you like to be the first to visit? What would be your first words? I'm not going to be first anywhere.
Yeah, the concept of being the first to go to one of these planets is not appealing because it's going to take you like 2-3 years to get there. So you're
I'm not big on that part.
Yeah, and then you got to get back, or it's a one-way trip, and they're like, "All right, go colonize it."
Yeah, eat
Briar,
potatoes for a
sure?
year straight.
Briar,
Yeah, potatoes.
are you sure you don't want to use this opportunity to make your favorite type of joke?
Am I going to open doorknobs on the spaceship?
On your
Uranus?
Yeah, huh?
You can't step foot on Uranus. It's a gas giant.
Well, Brian could make something to do with doorknobs. You know, he'd be the first doorknob on Uranus.
On a moon of Uranus, maybe.
You could land, Briar, and be like, I finally understand what it's like to be a doorknob. Because you are in Uranus. Uh-huh. No, you're the doorknob.
Z-Plays says, would you rather be the only one to speak English but couldn't imitate any accent flawlessly, or speak any language but awful? Think Peggy Hill speaking Spanish.
I think
This includes English.
I'd prefer to speak any language because I could just not talk.
Yeah, I'd take any language badly.
I could just listen.
Because the usefulness there is going to be tremendous.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It doesn't
I would
matter if
definitely.
if I'm speaking Swahili and I'm not speaking it well, I don't think anyone's going to judge me for my
Right?
terrible Swahili.
Yeah. They're like, wow, you speak bad Swahili. Yeah, wow. There's a joke of Nihongo Jozo, which just means like you speak Japanese and you're bad at it, but people, because you're not Japanese, they're like, oh, your Japanese is so good. Wow, good job. Like you're a baby. I'd take that one.
That's how people talk to me when you can do English. So good. When did you start learning? Colin Burton says, hi, everyone. Hope you're all having a great week. I finally got to try a flake for the first time this week.
Oh,
So my question is, how can an entire country of people hate their mouth so much? The flavor was pretty good, but dang.
You all have no taste.
Absolutely parched is the result.
Brooke, have you ever had a flake? The candy from, I don't know, where's it from?
Cocoa dust.
England.
Have you ever licked the Sahara Desert?
Yes, I have.
No, I think it's close to taking like a bag of cocoa and being like, I should eat this.
Just dry. Just
Dry. Yeah,
Oh my God.
nothing with it. I mean, they obviously mix some fat into it because it's not 100% like cocoa, but it's definitely on the same. It's on the spectrum of just eating cocoa powder.
Well, that doesn't sound appealing.
It's delicious. These guys just have no taste. It's fine.
Yeah.
There's a store near me that sells them now. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna buy a bunch of them. I'm gonna ship them to you guys, and we'll do like a challenge
flake
for
challenge?
the like a flake challenge. You can eat the most flakes without
Oh God.
like turning into beef jerky.
Turn it into beef. Flakes are really good to eat with like chips.
Chips.
If you like the whole salty sweet situation.
They need some like milk.
No, it's great. I mean, they're great in ice cream. Hence
Well, yeah,
the
when you said-
99er.
When you said with ice cream, I was like, oh, it's like a topping. Like there's a lot of toppings for ice cream that I like that I'm not just going to eat by themselves. Like,
Yeah,
it's a vehicle.
flakes are really great to eat if you have a active fire hose handy. Lord Beer says the ship of Theseus is a thought experiment that raises the question of whether an object that has had all of its components replaced remains fundamentally the same object. Do you guys agree?
Is it being duplicated somewhere else, or is it like pieces are
I think it's
removed? 'Cause-
restored. Restored. From
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like being restored. So like the ship is let's say it's 20 years old and starting to rot, so you replace a couple pieces. Is it still the original ship, or is it now something new? What if in 100 years you've replaced every original piece of wood has rotted, so you've replaced it with new wood, but it's still the same shape as the original ship. It's still the same function and form, but it's none of the original parts are the same.
So that happens in aviation actually a lot when they restore old airplanes, and it is still the same airplane. Like if you replace every single part one by one on an airplane, it is still the same airplane. The
Still
more
got,
interesting
the same
version,
flight number or
the
whatever.
more, so there's like a data plate, and the data plate is the only thing that like designates the airplane, right? But you can even copy that data plate to a new data plate and put it on it, and it's still the same airplane.
Interesting.
So they don't even have the original data plate. However, an interesting version of that experiment is if you one by one remove those pieces and then reassemble them somewhere else after replacing them.
Now you've got two identical planes. Which one of
those two is the original one? Is it the one that's made out of all the original pieces, but it was made while you were replacing the pieces one by one? Or is it the duplicate? Like which one is the clone and which one is the original? So I like that version too.
That one's better. That one's harder.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're both the original, kind of.
Yeah. And both not the original.
Or at what point does one become the original and one not become the original, right? Yeah. Or like what happens when both of them have 50% of the original parts and 50% new parts? Is it?
Yeah.
It's like the spirit of the ship versus the raw goods of the ship. Like, at what point does it blend? Yeah.
I think it's like the transporter from Star Trek, where it's like nobody's sure if it just kills you and then rebuilds you exactly every time you transport. There's people like in universe who believe that that's what it is, and that they won't transport ever unless they absolutely have to, because they think that it kills you and then it like clones you and moves your clone to the other side. So,
which is terrifying. Zachary Richard says, "What's up, everyone? What's a controversial opinion that you have?" He says, "I'll start. I think DreamWorks Animation makes better stories and music than Disney."
Damn. Pixar is pretty damn good.
Yeah. Pixar is definitely holding up. Like, they're boosting up the average for Disney, though.
Yeah. Because technically they're part of Disney.
Yeah.
Because they were bought.
But I mean, like, if you're just looking at the best of the best, I think Pixar wins. But if you're looking at, like, average, DreamWorks might have a chance there.
I don't know.
It's a controversial opinion that you
enjoyable.
Yeah, that's controversial.
That one. Yeah, I mean, I thought they were bad Star Wars.
Some might call it a bad opinion.
Yeah, I thought I thought they were bad. I thought they were bad Star Wars movies, but that didn't prevent me from enjoying them like as movies, right? Like if you had to ask me to rate the Star Wars movies, those two would be the lowest of all of them. But at the same time, like I just enjoy going to movies and I just enjoy watching movies, and it's like, yeah, they're shitty Star Wars movies, but it's still a good movie. Like,
you know what my problem is what really kills me about those movies is the midichlorians. It's like that, the way they fucked up the religion of the Jedi. It's like, because they messed with the lore in a way that you can't take back. That's why I really don't like that first one. But Duel of the Fates is awesome.
Yeah, it also just made up a bunch of bullshit anyways, right? So it's like,
yeah, it is all made up bullshit. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's a controversial opinion you have, Tefty? What?
That Warlocks suck.
It's not controversial.
I don't feel like that's
just
controversial.
Accepted. Accepted? Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
My bad.
I don't.
It's like saying butter is good.
Oh, I don't really like action movies. They make me sleepy.
Really?
Yeah. When action's happening, my brain goes to sleep. But
that's
when
how
it's
I get
like
when all the people start talking.
But when there's something to like think about, my brain's awake because it's engaged, you know? Brain engaged, I know sleep. Brain not engaged, me sleep. So that's why.
There's this wonderful series on Amazon. I was talking about it when you were tweeting about how you found. What did you find that was your sleep trigger?
Oh,
it was a specific show, was it?
it's not even specific shows. It's like real human shows. Doesn't happen really with anime, which weirdly, but I think it's because in human shows, like they'll be speaking and it's all like the same kind of volume, you know, they're talking. It's like someone reading you a bedtime story. So it puts me to sleep. I can do maybe 2 episodes and I'm fast asleep. I can't go any further. If I go further, I'm just fighting falling asleep the whole time.
I seek out stuff like this, and I have found the best series on Amazon. It's called Cruising the Cut, and it's one man who has bought what's called a longboat, and he is cruising the canals of Great Britain by himself. So it's all self-filmed, and he talks in a really nice British accent, very softly, and he just kind of chugs along at about 3 miles an hour along the canals of Great Britain, and it's an instant nap. It's fascinating, but not that fascinating.
Perfect. That's the perfect thing. You got to find something that you're into, but not so into that you're forcing yourself to stay awake.
I like Futurama. If you guys have ever seen that anime show from the people who made The Simpsons, there's actually a subreddit called Futurama Sleepers, but it's a great show to put on and just fall asleep to. I used that a lot when I was in college. I would just put it on the TV and turn the volume down pretty low to where it was like almost white noise and fall asleep.
Nice. Rick Steves' Europe tours, fantastic napping material because it's like exploring Europe,
sounds good.
Traveling, and you're like, it's time for a nap.
Yeah.
Or
I love
nap.
a good Sunday afternoon nap.
I listen to crime documentaries to fall asleep.
Does that give you nightmares?
No.
No, because
Actually,
she
a lot
kills
of the
people. Didn't we talk about this earlier?
Right, I forgot. Yeah,
what you call nightmares are fantasy.
Leisure time for what?
Relaxing, comforting. You could say. Actually, I wake up. I sometimes wake up laughing, and Tomo's like, "What are you laughing about?" And the other night, I said something about I need a cardboard cutout to watch TV, and he was just like, okay, yeah. Cardboard cutout. And then I woke up, so I was like, in that if you've ever like sleepwalked or sleep talked, you're like kind of aware of what's happening, but not really.
Mm-hmm.
And I fully woke up while I was saying cardboard cutout, and I was like, I'm tired, I'm going to bed. I was embarrassed. I was like, I don't know what I'm talking about. I have no idea.
Watts, have you ever seen that YouTuber who he breaks down police interviews of murderers?
Jim Can't Swim.
That is fascinating.
I love him. He only accepts like $1 Patreon stuff because he used to put all his stuff on Patreon because YouTube was being mean. But I'm on his Patreon. He's amazing. He's super good. It's Jim Can't Swim. I think it's just JCS Psychology now, I think is what he calls his YouTube channel. But that is super interesting because you get to know a full case, right? So you can have famous cases or not so famous cases, but you don't just learn about the person or what they did or what happened. He takes you through police interviews and he goes through the techniques that they use and why they're using that, and it is fascinating. It's
he'll point out like, here's why this person is lying, and like go through like a list of reasons, and then like each one is like an hour long. Well, not each one, but a lot of them are like an hour and a half long.
A lot of them are very long. When I saw him put out a 2-hour video, I was like, oh yes, it's the best day of my life.
Yeah, those are fascinating. They're kind of terrifying, but they're fascinating.
He is he makes like YouTube videos that could easily be a full-length documentary on Netflix or something.
Yeah.
He's amazing.
The Mohegan 9 says, what candy will you carry around with you when you're in your 70s? I mean, the Werther's Original is the classic go-to, right?
Hard candy, right?
It's wrapped in a little plastic wrapper, so it's not going to melt in your pocket.
Yeah.
It's not going to pull out your dentures.
I think I want to go down the route of like crazy old lady. So I'm gonna specifically choose something that melts in my pocket, and then I'll pull it out.
You're gonna have a bunch of flakes in your pocket.
I'm gonna have flakes. I'm gonna have flakes.
Like, what's all this dust in your pocket? It's the flake.
Dust will follow me as I walk. I will be the flake lady. I'll be called Old Flaky.
There goes Old Flaky.
Animals will chase
She
me.
hasn't been the same since she got out of jail.
Animals will follow behind like, oh, it's delicious. Old flaky.
Yeah, I'd probably Werther's Original sounds delicious.
Yeah, that's
I'm
the classic
down.
go-to
I'm down for that candy,
grandparents' candy, right?
Mhm.
Or what about those strawberry ones that they're individually wrapped that in the wrappers that look like strawberries,
Mhm.
and they're like, there's like some kind of like juicy gelatin in the middle.
Yeah, I don't know what the names
Those
are.
are disgusting, but grandparents definitely have them.
We used to have candy dishes growing up, like the fancy candy jar, and they would always have like butterscotch in them.
Yeah.
Butterscotch, yeah.
Yeah, butterscotch candies, delicious.
Mm-hmm.
No, Mark,
I like
not ringing a bell,
butterscotch.
is it, Mark?
No, we didn't have like grandma candy dishes or anything. So
No.
yeah, no, I don't have a ton of experience like old people candy. Just, like,
No?
yeah, no.
All right. So
What
when
about
you're
Jolly
in your
Rancher?
70s,
I mean, I know what Jolly Ranchers are. We weren't like a candy family at all. Like we didn't have candy in the house, and my grandparents didn't have candy, and so like I don't have a ton of experience with candy outside of just like what I would get at the movie theaters. So first thing that came to my head was Twizzlers, but then I thought what a terrible thing for old people to eat Twizzlers would be. because
that's a
it would, like,
denture buster for sure.
yeah, it would like pull their teeth out. So.
Going
Start
up your
tugging on one of
dentures.
those.
You
Oh,
could
oh,
show
God.
off. You could show off how awesome your dentures are to your
Or
other
how
old-
strong the
Yeah.
glue holding my dentures
Yeah.
in is. Yeah.
You could wink at them as you're eating
Yeah.
your. Yeah. Your
Eat a Twizzler seductively as an old person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can get away with anything. People are just like, oh, what a cute old man.
Yeah, we in Florida we have a place called the Villages, which is like the largest
Sounds
old people
terrifying.
community on Earth.
I see
And it's an
advertisements for that
entire
sometimes.
it's an entire
Wow.
city built for old people, and it has the highest rate of STDs of any city in America.
Hell yeah.
So enjoy that knowledge. And just
Yeah,
think
it's
about
Not
how
just
it
where
got
there's
to that.
originals in that
Yeah,
pocket.
Yeah.
Talking about some hard candy.
Yeah.
Is it just because they're like, I'm old, can't get pregnant, so just
Yep.
Old and
Can't
bold.
Let
get
it
pregnant.
fly.
STDs don't matter anymore. Your significant other's been dead for 30 years, so it's like, whatever. Just
Wow.
bang it
spread
out.
it, just
and-
spread it in the village.
Yep. Very disgusting.
Spread in the village.
Yeah.
James Carey says Destiny has been overrun with Skyrim mods. Would you rather have everything has tits now, or all the bosses and mini bosses are now Macho Man Randy Savage? Yeah, that's a
Ooh.
hard choice. Both of those sound awesome.
Imagine Dead Man's Tale with tits.
Yeah,
Imagine-
sounds great.
That does sound great.
More
the Cato
titties.
OnlyFans picks up steam.
Yeah, but also Macho Man Randy Savage is every boss. That sounds great.
Why
That's
not
pretty good,
both?
too.
Macho Man or Randy Savage with tits?
Yeah.
Oh!
Skyrim mods.
Yeah.
You can do everything.
That's the end game right there. Dreadnought says DCP crew gets sucked into a video game Jumanji style and gets trapped. The crew must complete survival missions and side quests in order to get back to the real world.
Mm.
What would be the video game, and what are the roles of each of the DCP hosts? Oh,
Aren't we in Jumanji?
yeah, Jumanji style. What game would it be? Isn't it always the same game?
Well, you're in a jungle
Yeah,
and you
just
do like
Jumanji.
things. Yeah, Jumanji.
So, Contra.
I'm just gonna say memories of the DCP. crew.
Nice.
No trash can.
Dick's
I
eating
can go get one.
contest. That's one of the games.
That's right. I mean, I would have said this is going to be disastrous, but based on our play of Valheim, like I've got this like new opinion of DCP working together that I never had before. It's very
We've
strange.
done
We
really
can
good. We
accomplish
were
anything.
Yeah.
laser focused.
Yeah. What else was what was the other part of the question?
So these questions are always so hard because you got to really like come up with like a whole video game and then assign roles.
Yeah, but Jumanji.
What
is
are the
Jumanji.
roles?
You're in a jungle. There's like various things. Like you got to get across the pond, and there's like alligators, some crap in the pond, or you got to like across the cavern or the chasm, and there's a bunch of rabid monkeys trying to eat you alive. They're like, "Is that
I'm not
Briar?
familiar enough
I'm gonna
with
eat Briar."
Jumanji. Ah, shit.
You haven't seen
So
the
maybe
movies?
it's like one of you has to be The Rock, one of you has to be Jack Black, one has to be Kevin Hart, and I don't remember who the fourth character was, but I actually
The
didn't
girl.
see the movie, so yeah. I only saw like commercials, but
I want to be the girl. I've always been curious. I call it dibs. That is going to be an entertaining afternoon.
I'm gonna grab Briar's tits.
There you go.
That's how I'm gonna get back to the real world.
It's the up, down, down.
It's
AB,
not
AB.
a button.
It's the shortcut.
Blady McBlanderson says you're sitting at a red light behind one other car. When the light turns green, the car doesn't start moving. How long do you wait before you lay on the horn? And do you give them a "Hey, buddy, you can go" tap on the horn, or a move your damn ass blast? I usually do the double tap.
Yeah,
Deep,
the chirp,
you know?
chirp.
That's friendly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm
It's
not
not
trying
like
to
a
make any
bing.
energies.
Yeah.
Everybody gets distracted. You know, sometimes you're playing with the radio, you don't realize the light turned. It's no big deal.
Yeah.
Don't need to get mad about it.
I do the more sustained blast, but I drive a
Do you?
Toyota, and so the horn is not very like aggressive sounding. So I don't think it comes off as dickish or anything. You know, it's just the little one isn't enough of anything. You could completely like miss it. It's like too quiet. So I gotta lay on it a little bit, but
Gotcha.
yeah, it's not like I'm sitting in a big rig behind you or like a lifted up diesel truck or something.
Ooga.
Yeah.
I'm more likely to do the sustained horn when somebody's driving like 10 miles below the speed limit for like a long time. Like, come on, buddy. I got shit to do here. And I'll just lay on it until they pull over.
Until they pull over.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are you pulling up on him, Briar? What are you doing?
Briar's an aggressive driver. Aggressive.
Briar goes to the side. Pull over. Fight.
I got shit to do.
like
You're going
fight,
under the
like
speed
fight
limit.
drivers.
Pull over right now.
I forgot the question.
Are you
beep horns?
Yeah, beeping the horn.
Ideally, I'd be able to replace my horn with some type of clown nose sound, and I'd just do that.
Clown squeaky noise, huh?
You know what I always thought would be a cool thing to have in your cars? You remember those LED signs that would just scroll words?
Yes.
So, and just have like a keyboard that you can just kind of type messages in at any time, and the people behind you and in front of you can always read them.
Well, if you have a Tesla,
I guess that'd be nice to have.
if you have a Tesla, and in the future other people have Teslas, I think you'll be able to send messages back and forth.
You could.
Oh, really?
Yeah, have like a little
That'd be cool.
COD chat room on the road.
Oh, geez. So it sounded interesting until you brought up COD chat room.
Sounds like such a bad idea.
Yeah.
Now it's just gonna be a bunch of racist people.
Yeah. Be like,
Yep.
Jesus, why is this thing on?
Proximity chat, so just when they're next to you, you don't even have a choice whether or not you want to hear them. Yeah.
Mohegan says, has anyone ever talked about you in another language in front of you, but you understood the language?
I mean, I speak shit Spanish, and yeah, when I was in Mexico, I did an internship down there for a dive shop, and the locals would talk shit about us, but I think they knew that we could speak shit Spanish. They just didn't really care. So, because they made sure to enunciate and like look in our direction. So I feel like they kind of wanted us to. Yeah,
They were sending a vibe.
yeah.
Was that fun working at a dive shop in Mexico? It sounds fun.
It was awesome. It was. I equate the experience to like living in a frat house, but it's co-ed and in Mexico. And like that's pretty much what the experience was. It was real fun. And plus you get to dive like 2 or 3 times a day, every single day. So it's
Cool.
like, how could you not enjoy being in one of the most beautiful places on earth and getting to do something that's incredibly fun and then just getting shit-faced drunk every single night?
What if you
Briar's like,
That's the end game.
Briar's
That's what I'm
sold.
Why
doing.
did you stop doing this?
Because it turns out that it's not conducive for like real life and real opportunities, and you pretty much
What
like
other
some people
opportunity do you
don't.
need?
Like, well, some people
how's
do,
life going to
like,
get better?
Well, you cannot live in a co-ed frat house when you're like 40, which would probably be not nearly as much fun as
it
was
goes
when I
from
was in
fun
my,
to who's the old guy trying to be cool.
I think at that
like,
point
there
you just
were-
gotta start writing songs about Margaritaville. You know.
Yeah, there were some old guys there who'd been doing it for like long periods of time, and
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it like addled their brains, but yeah, it was definitely fun. The things that suck is like it is still Mexico and not entirely the same luxury style of life as it is up here. So like one of the times the water just like broke and we just didn't have water in the house for a week. So it was like if you wanted to flush the toilet, you had to go out into the backyard into the well and take a bucket with a string attached to it and throw it into the well and then like haul it up and then dump it into the back of the toilet, just like flush the toilet.
Mm.
So yeah. And we were like, hey, the water's not working, and they're just like, Mexico. Like,
Seems like you could have bypassed that whole thing by just shitting down the well.
yeah, but we also had to drink, and you had to fill up a bathtub or pretty much anything. So yeah, it was what we ended up doing is like you wake up at like 4 a.m. before it gets hot and you just ride your bike to the hotel that's attached to the dive shop. And they had running water because they were fancy. So we would just do everything.
Right.
And yeah, you would be at the house from like midnight till 4 a.m. and then that was it. Basically just to sleep off the drunk. Yeah.
This establishment is fancy. You got running water.
Yeah. Yeah.
VHRP says, would you rather date someone who can't take a joke or someone who never understands the joke? Both are awful.
Probably
I'm
never
gonna go with
understand.
yeah. I was gonna say never understand. The worst is when you're trying to be funny and someone's just like,
Yeah, like super offended.
Yeah, offended over that. Yeah. That just
that
sounds like
wouldn't
a
go
bad
well
time.
with me. Imagine me telling Briar I'm gonna eat him and he gets mad at me.
Yeah, imagine
I
if Brian
am
actually
mad.
got offended.
Very.
Plus, my jokes are funny, so I kind of like explaining them because it's like, I thought that was pretty clever. Sure,
It's
I'll
like
explain
double
it.
joke. You get seconds of the joke.
Yeah.
My wife is a ballistic ball buster. Like she goes in hard. If like, thank God, like everybody in the house has to be able to take a joke around here. It's tough.
You guys are
I guess it'd be better to not understand.
It's amazing.
The Shazzle says, which is better, a tank top or cut off sleeves?
See you, Shazzle. He's one of the supporters of the Massive Breakdown podcast. So glad to say I recognize the name. They give me shit all the time because I'm always wearing tank tops when I do this stuff. But it's because this is
You're
my
in
pajamas.
Florida.
Like I put on my pajamas before I do these podcasts because they're late at night, Eastern time. So I wear tank tops to bed. It's not like I only wear tank tops all the time. God, come on.
It's his work attire. Jesus.
Yeah. And
It's not like a wife beater either. It's like a real shirt.
No, it's a real tank top. It's got it's got a pocket on it. Look at that. That's fancy.
Yeah.
Got
That
pockets.
is classy.
I told them, I was like, I don't even wear tank tops the most out of my friends. We have a guy in our friends group who wears tank tops so much we call him Tank Top Tom. Okay, like I am
nice.
the second or third most tank top wearing person. I live in Florida, right? What do you expect?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah.
I got
That's what I'm
flip flops
saying.
too.
I feel like that's standard issue out there. That's like a uniform. Is a tank top.
Yeah. I have like 6 different tank tops. I can wear a tank top every day of the week and only have to repeat once.
Honestly, if I'm in Florida, I'm just happy people are wearing clothes.
It's not all the time.
If I'm in
It's
Florida, I'm
not all
happy to
that.
be inside in air conditioning.
It's not too bad now. It's like 70 degrees outside. It's pretty nice.
Huroon79 said, this is the last question of the night. Huroon79 says, would you rather be able to channel the spirits of dead celebrities or never have to replace the light bulb in your bathroom?
Never have to replace the light bulb in my bathroom.
Yeah, I've never had to.
I can't
I'm
remember
already
the last
living
time I've
that
done
life.
it either.
I don't think I'd want to channel the spirit of a dead
I do.
celebrity. Like at
That
any
sounds
given time.
fun.
Yeah,
I can make money from that.
that's true. You could
that
make
does
money.
sound like a money-making opportunity.
What if I could channel their
Hell, you could
voice?
just say you can do it and probably make some money off of it.
It's true.
Well, imagine-
People do say they can do it and make
Imagine
money
the
from
moral
it.
implications, though. You're suddenly on command, having Robin Williams like give you information.
I'd ask for consent.
Of the dead?
See, maybe
Yeah.
maybe it doesn't work that way though, because you
It
have this
does.
ability.
This is my
Well-
ability. That's how it works.
It's
You
like
just ring 'em
imagine a
up.
phone call that you can't not pick up.
No.
Like, you
I'll
have to
ask
pick
them.
up
Oh, they're
phone
like
and be
I'll
mind
say,
raping
you
you?
sleeping?
Yeah,
Are you sleeping? Can I call you?
yeah, but see, they're hearing your message. You're in their head
Yeah, it's
already,
like-
and in the
They're my
grave.
friends.
All the dead celebrities.
Yes.
It's just a line of them, and they're all yelling.
Yeah, it
All
turns
the
out
time.
that they have the ability to contact you. You don't have the ability to contact them.
Ooh,
They reach
Yeah.
out to you all the time.
So
Getting
you
a little
play
worse.
dead celebrity roulette, and you're not sure who you're gonna get.
Even
Right?
more exciting.
What happens when Bill Cosby dies and he comes knocking? That's gonna be awkward.
I could threaten to eat him.
But
Works
he's
with
dead.
Briar.
He's in the ethers.
If I can
You
channel
smoke
dead
him with
celebrities,
Mithrax.
why
Yeah.
can't I eat them?
Because they're spirit form.
Can't answer that, Tufty.
Consume their souls.
Impossible question.
Well, I guess
If you
on
talk
that note,
if the dead people talk too much, you just eat their souls, so they can't do it anymore.
Add that to
That's-
Watts' bag of tricks.
yeah, soul
Consuming
eater.
souls.
What do you do around here? Soul eating.
Yeah. If people annoy me, I eat their souls. Yeah, it's a good time.
That's what we think about the Stasis Nerfs.
Yeah.
Excellent.
You're
Yeah.
welcome.
That's the
There
show.
was thanks to Merc, there were at least some good facts today.
Yes.
So that's good.
Tried and true spreadsheet, corroborated factual evidence of stuff. Right?
Yeah, I'm happy to be the anchor to your guys' podcast. Be down here in the world of stats and real life and probability, and
Meanwhile, Watts is eating souls of the dead.
yeah,
With flakes in
Celebrities.
my pocket.
Yeah,
And
with
something
flakes.
about doorknobs that I don't know what that means, but I can only imagine where it's coming from.
Well,
Well,
if
you're
there's-
assuming.
If
He's
if
probably
Briar is on Uranus and he's the doorknob, finally, what's Briar been doing in his spare time?
I can, like I said, I can only imagine, and I don't really want to, but
Like one of those questions they ask you in school, you know?
It's a DCP haiku.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's poetry.
Well, that is the episode number 229. Thank you very much for hanging out and listening. Merc, where can people find you?
you can find me on Twitter, Mercules904. You can find me pretty much wherever you guys listen to podcasts on the Destiny Massive Breakdowns podcast, and you can also find me. We try to do every other week for Firing Range, but we are god awful at keeping a schedule. So random Wednesday nights, you can find me on Firing Range with all the other Sandbox scientists. So
Awesome. Watts?
I am Miss 5000 Watts. You can find me on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. Just look for Miss 5000 Watts.
I'm Briar Rabbit. You can find me on Twitter at the Briar Rabbit. I also have a video that's in production about the most expensive arcade stick you can buy. And I'm not gonna lie to you, it's quite a joystick.
Nice. That's great. I'm Tefty Teft. You can talk to me at Teft on Twitter. And I just posted a video about my Switch that I bought recently. So
I
that's-
can't wait till side quest.
So yeah, that's on my YouTube channel. And yeah, I'm looking forward to playing Monster Hunter Rise as well. All that stuff.
Yes. We
So
must hunt together.
Mm-hmm. So speaking of side quest, that's Monday, 1 p.m. Pacific time. And that's what's coming up next on this channel. So we'll see you guys then. Thank you very much for watching and listening. And shout out to our Patreon members and our Twitch subs as well. You guys are amazing. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
later.
Bye.
Bye.